The hyperspace lane between Raxus Secundus and the neighboring system tore open with a violence that defied every law of galactic physics. No ship emerged, no energy signature registered on any scanner within 3 parsecs. What came through was something else entirely, a rip in reality itself, burning with colors that shouldn't exist, pulsing with an energy that made the Force itself recoil in confusion. On the surface of Raxus Secundus, a Separatist mining world choked with industrial waste and droid factories, the sky split open. Workers in the recycling facilities looked up in terror as a golden light streaked downward like a falling star, except stars didn't scream. The impact crater carved into the junkyard district measured 40 meters across, scattering mountains of discarded ship parts and sending a shockwave that shattered windows in the nearby settlement. In the center of the smoking crater, Naruto Uzumaki pushed himself to his hands and knees, coughing and disoriented. Everything hurt. His orange and black jacket was torn, his headband askew, and his mind was spinning with fragmented memories. The mission to retrieve a scroll from a dimension-hopping enemy, the explosion of chakra and space-time ninjutsu colliding, Kurama's roar of warning, and then nothing but impossible colors and the sensation of falling through existence itself. "Okay," Naruto muttered in Japanese, spitting out dust. "That was definitely not supposed to happen." "Kit, wake up!" Kurama's voice thundered in his mindscape, urgent and angry. "We're not in the elemental nations anymore. I don't sense any natural chakra in this world. Just you, me, and something else. Something vast and aware." Naruto's eyes snapped into focus as his senses expanded. Kurama was right. The air felt wrong. No natural energy to draw on for Sage Mode, though his own chakra reserves remained intact. The sky was a sickly yellow-gray, choked with pollution. Massive towers belched smoke in the distance, and the wreckage surrounding him wasn't just junk. It was technology far beyond anything he'd seen. Sleek metal panels, stream circuitry, and what looked like half a starship hull jutted from the piles around him. Before he could process further, a mechanical whirring filled the air. Naruto spun to see 6 humanoid figures approaching through the smoke. Except they weren't human. They were skeletal droids, their photoreceptors glowing red, each carrying a blaster rifle that hummed with barely contained energy. "Intruder detected in Sector 7, one battle droid announced in a flat, mechanical voice through its vocabulator. "Surrender for processing or be terminated." Naruto's hand instinctively went to his kunai pouch. "Who are you guys? Where am I?" The droids raised their weapons. "Non-compliance registered. Opening fire." Blue bolts of plasma streaked through the air. Naruto's shinobi reflexes saved him. He dove behind a twisted piece of hull plating as the energy blasts punched smoking holes through metal. His heart raced. Those weren't kunai or shuriken. Those were some kind of long-range jutsu weapons, and they hit harder than any fire technique he'd faced. "All right, you want to play rough." Naruto formed the familiar cross-shaped hand seal. "Shadow clone jutsu." 20 perfect copies of Naruto exploded into existence in puffs of white smoke, each one solid and real. The battle droid's processors struggled to compute this impossibility. Their sensors registered 21 identical targets where there had been one, each radiating the same energy signature. "What? How did—" The lead droid's voice glitched. "Backup required. Enemy has replication technology." The clones scattered, moving with coordinated precision born from years of combat experience. 3 clones rushed the left flank while 4 more went right. The battle droids fired wildly, their targeting computers overwhelmed by the sheer number of targets moving in unpredictable patterns. When a blaster bolt struck a clone, it dispersed in smoke, but not before that clone had closed the distance. Naruto's original form sprinted straight up the middle, chakra enhancing his speed beyond what any normal human in this galaxy could achieve. He jumped 15 feet into the air, spinning his hand to form a spiraling sphere of blue chakra. The Rasengan compressed and rotated at speeds that made the air scream. Rasengan! Naruto slammed the spiraling sphere into the lead battle droid's chest. The effect was catastrophic. The concentrated chakra didn't just pierce the droid's armor, it tore the machine apart from the inside out, sending components flying in every direction as the rotational force shredded circuits and metal alike. The remaining droids attempted to recalibrate, but Naruto's clones were already upon them. Precise strikes to joints and sensor arrays, enhanced by chakra-infused strength, dismantled the machines with brutal efficiency. Within 30 seconds, the patrol lay in sparking pieces across the junkyard floor. Naruto dismissed his clones and stood among the wreckage, breathing hard. The memories from each clone flooded back, combat data, observations about the droid's construction, and the alarming realization that these machines were mass-produced soldiers, an army of them. Kurama, what kind of world has armies of metal puppets? A world with technology far beyond your village, Kurama growled. And you just announced our presence to whoever controls them. More are coming. I can sense movement, lots of it. The Ninetales was right. In the distance, Naruto heard engines, dozens of them. He climbed atop a pile of scrap to get a better view, and his breath caught. Floating transports filled with more battle droids were converging on his position from 3 directions. Beyond them, he could see massive walking machines with multiple legs, their cannons already rotating toward him. But there was something else. Past the industrial hellscape, Naruto spotted a cluster of ramshackle buildings where normal people, actual living beings, were trying to evacuate. They looked human or close enough, and they were running in terror as the droid army advanced. Several explosions rocked the settlement as stray fire from the approaching machines hit homes and shelters. Naruto's expression hardened. He didn't know where he was or how he'd gotten here, but some things were universal. Innocent people needed protection. Shadow clone jutsu. This time, 50 clones materialized. Half of you get those people to safety, the rest with me. The clones moved with purpose. 25 sprinted toward the settlement, moving faster than the locals had ever seen anyone move, while Naruto and the remaining clones positioned themselves between the civilians and the advancing droid army. The first multi-troop transport descended, deploying 30 battle droids that immediately opened fire. Naruto's clones formed a defensive wall, some dispelling under the plasma barrage but buying time for others to close the distance. Naruto himself channeled chakra to his feet and ran up the side of a derelict freighter, using the high ground to survey the battlefield. Okay, think. These guys shoot energy blasts, they're coordinated, and there's a lot of them. Gotta take out the transport and... His words cut off as something massive landed behind him with enough force to crack the freighter's hull. Naruto spun to see a new type of droid. This one massive, with broad shoulders, heavy armor plating, and arms that ended in rotating blaster cannons. A super battle droid, though Naruto didn't know the designation. Target acquired, it droned, both arms rising. Naruto formed another Rasengan and lunged. The super battle droid's armor was tougher, but concentrated chakra was still chakra. The Rasengan punched through its chest plating with a screech of tortured metal, and the machine collapsed backwards, sparking and dead.
But the noise had drawn more attention. High above, a Separatist command ship detected the unusual energy signatures. Count Dooku, standing on the bridge of his solar sailor in orbit, felt a disturbance ripple through the force. Something powerful, something angry, and something that felt like molten fire wrapped around a core of determination. It wasn't the light side. It wasn't the dark side. It was something else entirely. Interesting, Dooku murmured, his elegant features betraying curiosity. General Grievous, dispatch a full battalion to Raxus Secundus. I want whatever is causing that disturbance captured alive. Meanwhile, in the Republic cruiser Negotiator, passing through a nearby system, Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi suddenly gasped, gripping the armrest of his command chair. Anakin Skywalker, standing beside him, felt it too, a massive presence in the Force, like a sun igniting where before there had been nothing. "Master, what is that?" Anakin breathed, his hand unconsciously moving to his lightsaber. "I don't know," Obi-Wan replied, already moving toward the navigation console. "Set course for Raxus Secundus, maximum speed." Back on the surface, Naruto's clones had successfully evacuated the civilians to a reinforced shelter, but the droid army was closing in, hundreds of them now, with more transports arriving every minute. Naruto stood alone in the junkyard clearing, surrounded by the smoking remains of dozens of destroyed machines. His chakra flared orange-red as he began to draw on Kurama's power. "Kit, don't hold back. Show them what a Jinchuriki can do." "You got it, Kurama." Naruto's eyes shifted to slitted pupils as a cloak of golden chakra enveloped his body, tails of energy whipping behind him. The ground cracked beneath his feet from the sheer pressure of his power. The Force itself seemed to shudder, recoiling and reaching toward him simultaneously, unable to comprehend what it was sensing. The lead battle droid's processors registered a power spike that broke their measurement scale. "Alert! Energy levels exceeding all known—" Naruto vanished. To the droid's sensors, he simply ceased to exist in one location and appeared in another, moving faster than their targeting computers could track. His chakra-enhanced strikes now pulverized droids with single blows, each punch releasing concussive waves of golden energy. He moved through the army like a whirlwind, a blur of orange and gold, and where he passed, machines fell in pieces. One of Naruto's clones formed a massive Rasengan, this one the size of a boulder, and hurled it into a cluster of spider droids. The explosion sent concussive waves across the battlefield, and the locals watching from their shelter stared in disbelief. This wasn't the Force. Jedi couldn't do this. Sith couldn't do this. What was this warrior? High above, Count Dooku's eyes widened as he observed the battle through his ship's viewscreen. "Magnificent," he whispered. "Such raw power, yet he fights to protect. Not a Jedi, certainly not Sith. Who are you, mysterious warrior?" The Republic gunships arrived then, LAAT craft descending through the polluted atmosphere with clone troopers ready to deploy. Obi-Wan and Anakin stood at the open bay doors, lightsabers ignited, watching in amazement as a single fighter held off an entire Separatist battalion.
"Is that one person doing all that?" Anakin asked, his voice filled with awe. "It appears so," Obi-Wan replied, trying to sense the figure through the Force. What he felt made no sense. Vast power, but not Force-sensitive in any way he understood. "We need to make contact before the Separatists do." Naruto, exhausted but still standing, watched as new ships descended from both sides. The metal soldiers were retreating now, whatever coordinated them apparently deciding he was too dangerous to engage directly. But these new arrivals, some wore white armor and carried weapons, while others wore robes and held glowing swords of pure light. "Great," Naruto panted, dismissing his chakra cloak as Kurama's power receded. "More people who probably want to fight me." "Careful, Kit. These ones feel different. That energy I mentioned, the thing that's everywhere in this world, it's concentrated in those two with the glowing swords. They're connected to it somehow." The gunships landed, and Obi-Wan Kenobi stepped forward, his blue lightsaber held in a non-threatening position. Clone troopers fanned out behind him, weapons ready but not aimed. Anakin moved to his master's side, studying the exhausted young man in the torn orange jacket who had just single-handedly repelled a droid army. "Easy there," Obi-Wan called out in his most diplomatic voice. "We're not here to fight. I'm Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi of the Galactic Republic. This is Anakin Skywalker. We sensed you. Quite impressively, I might add." Naruto straightened, every muscle screaming in protest. He didn't understand most of what the bearded man just said, but the tone was peaceful, and those glowing swords, they weren't attacking, yet. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki," he replied in Japanese, then frowned when he realized they weren't understanding him. He pointed to himself. "Naruto." He gestured around the destroyed droids, then made a questioning gesture, trying to ask where he was. Obi-Wan and Anakin exchanged glances. The young man didn't speak basic, but his intentions seemed clear. He'd protected civilians and fought droids. That suggested he was on the right side, at least. "We'll need a translator," Obi-Wan said quietly to Anakin. "Get him aboard the ship, carefully. Something tells me he could level this entire settlement if he felt threatened." As clone troopers cautiously approached with gestures of peace, Naruto felt Kurama's warning rumble through his mind. "This isn't over, Kit. That dark presence I sensed, the one watching from orbit, it's still there, and it's very, very interested in us." Naruto looked up at the stars beyond the polluted sky, wondering what kind of world he'd fallen into and whether he'd ever find his way home. Behind him, the refugees emerged from their shelter, bowing and calling out thanks in languages he didn't understand. He'd saved them without knowing their names, their world, or their war. But that was fine. That's what shinobi did. That's what heroes did. Even in a galaxy far, far away.
The interior of the Venator-class Star Destroyer Negotiator was a marvel of technology that made Naruto's head spin. Everything was metal, lights, and smooth surfaces that hummed with power. Clone troopers in white armor escorted him through corridors that seemed to stretch forever, their faces identical beneath their helmets, a fact that made Naruto deeply uncomfortable for reasons he couldn't quite articulate yet. They'd placed him in what Obi-Wan had called a guest quarters, though the energy field shimmering across the doorway suggested it was more accurately a cell. Not that Naruto particularly minded. He was exhausted, confused, and trying to process the fact that he'd apparently fallen into another world entirely, a world with flying ships the size of mountains, armies of metal soldiers, and warriors who carried swords made of light. "Stop pacing, Kit. You're making me dizzy," Kurama grumbled from within the seal. "How can I stop pacing? I don't know where I am, how I got here, or how to get back. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura, everyone. They're probably worried sick. And what if that enemy we were fighting is still—" "Focus on survival first," Kurama interrupted. "This world operates on different rules. I can feel that pervasive energy everywhere. It's in the walls, the air, those warriors with the light swords. It's aware of us too. Watching. Curious." Naruto stopped pacing and sat cross-legged on the floor, forming the familiar hand seal. "Then I need to understand it, and I need to understand them." He closed his eyes and concentrated, forming the technique that had served him countless times. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. The quarters erupted with white smoke. When it cleared, 50 perfect copies of Naruto filled the space, sitting, standing, hanging from the ceiling, every available surface occupied by an identical blonde shinobi in an orange jacket. "All right," Naruto Prime announced. "We need to learn their language fast. Each of you, focus on a different aspect, sounds, patterns, body language, everything. When we dispel, I'll get all your memories, and we should be able to piece together how to communicate." The clones nodded in unison. Several pressed their ears to the walls, listening to conversations in the corridors. Others watched through the energy field as crew members passed, noting gestures and reactions. A few focused purely on meditation, trying to sense the patterns in that strange, pervasive energy Kurana had mentioned. Outside the cell, 2 clone troopers stood guard. Commander Cody approached, his orange-marked armor identifying him as Obi-Wan's second-in-command. "How's our guest?" Cody asked. "Silent since we locked him in, sir. No attempts to escape, no—" A muffled explosion of sound from within the quarters made all 3 troopers snap to attention. Through the translucent energy field, they could see dozens of the orange-clad prisoner moving around, talking to each other, examining every surface. "What in the—" Cody's hand went to his blaster. "There's a whole platoon of them in there. How did they get past security?" "Sir, scanners show only 1 life sign," the other trooper reported, checking his wrist display. "Just like before. Get General Kenobi, now."
In the war room, Obi-Wan and Anakin stood before a holographic display of Raxus Secundus, reviewing sensor data from the battle. The energy readings were unlike anything in the Republic database. Massive power spikes that didn't match force signatures, plasma weapons, or any known technology. "He created solid duplicates of himself," Anakin said, replaying the footage again. "Not holograms, not droids, actual copies that could fight independently. Master, I've never seen anything like it." "Nor have I," Obi-Wan admitted, stroking his beard thoughtfully. "And that golden energy that surrounded him, it gave him strength far beyond any enhancement we know. He moved faster than a speeder bike and hit hard enough to destroy super battle droids with his bare hands." "Could he be a force sensitive we've never encountered? Some unknown tradition?" Obi-Wan shook his head. "I tried to sense him through the force during the battle. There's something there, but it's not the force as we understand it. It's like trying to sense a star. Massive power, but fundamentally different from what we draw upon." A communication hologram flickered to life, Master Yoda's diminutive form appearing before them. "A disturbance in the force we have sensed. This newcomer responsible he is." "Master Yoda," Obi-Wan bowed. "Yes, we found him on Raxus Secundus, fighting off an entire Separatist battalion alone. He was protecting civilians." "Protect civilians, he did." Yoda's ears perked with interest. "Light within him there is, yet different from the force his power feels. Speak with him you must. Understand his intentions we must." "There's a complication," Anakin interjected. "He doesn't speak basic. We haven't been able to communicate beyond gestures." "A translator droid use. Patience this will require." He paused, his eyes widening slightly. "Strong in the force you both feel. A great disturbance there is. Not dark, not light. Something ancient awakens." Before they could respond, Commander Cody burst into the war room. "Generals, you need to see this." When Obi-Wan and Anakin arrived at the detention level with a protocol droid in tow, they found a crowd of clone troopers staring through the energy field in confusion. Inside the quarters, dozens of identical Narutos were engaged in various activities, some practicing combat forms, others apparently teaching each other, and one group that seemed to be having an argument with themselves. "Fascinating," Obi-Wan murmured. "They're all real. I can sense each one individually, even though they're clearly the same person." Anakin stepped forward and deactivated the energy field. Immediately, all the Narutos stopped what they were doing and turned to face the Jedi. Then, in perfect synchronization, they all formed the same hand seal and dispelled in clouds of white smoke, leaving only one, the original, sitting cross-legged in the center of the room. Naruto opened his eyes and stood. When he spoke, his words were halting and heavily accented, but unmistakably galactic basic. "Hello. I learn fast. You are Obi-Wan? Anakin?" Every jaw in the corridor dropped. The protocol droid's photoreceptors dimmed in confusion. "Sir, that's impossible. Language acquisition requires months of study and—" "How did you do that?" Anakin asked, amazed. Naruto grinned and formed his hand seal again. 3 clones appeared beside him. "Shadow clones. They learn. I learn. All memory together." The clones dispelled. "Each clone study different. When they poof, I know what they know." "Incredible," Obi-Wan breathed. "You've learned basic in less than an hour through some kind of memory-sharing technique?" "Not perfect yet," Naruto admitted, his brow furrowing as he searched for words. "But getting better. Every minute, understand more." He looked around at the ship, then back at the Jedi. "Where am I? This not my world." Obi-Wan gestured, and the clone troopers cleared the corridor, giving them privacy. He and Anakin entered the quarters, and the energy field reactivated behind them. "You're aboard a Republic Star Destroyer. This is the Galactic Republic. We're at war with the Separatist Alliance. Those droids you fought on Raxus Secundus were Separatist forces." Republic, Separatist. Naruto's eyes scrunched in concentration as his clones' accumulated knowledge helped him process. "Like 2 villages at war." "More like 2 halves in the entire galaxy at war," Anakin corrected. "Thousands of systems on each side fighting for control." Naruto's eyes widened. "Galaxy? You mean all the stars? Is that big?"
"How did you get here?" Obi-Wan asked gently. "We sensed you appear, not arrive by ship, but literally appear out of nowhere. The Force itself reacted to your presence." "Force?" Naruto frowned. "That energy? The one that's everywhere?" "You can sense it?" Anakin leaned forward. "Are you Force-sensitive?" "Not Force." Naruto shook his head. He placed a hand on his stomach. "I have chakra and friend inside me." He seemed to struggle with how to explain, then created a shadow clone. The clone formed a small sphere of blue energy in its palm, a miniature Rasengan, carefully controlled. "This chakra, my power, from my world." Both Jedi reached out with the Force to sense the energy sphere. It wasn't Force-based, yet it clearly existed, a different fundamental energy entirely. "Your world," Obi-Wan repeated. "You're saying you're from another dimension, another universe?" "Think so," Naruto nodded. "Was fighting enemy. Bad jutsu, bad technique happened. Space tore, fell through, ended up here." His expression grew troubled. "Need go home. Friends there. Village need me." "Careful, Kit," Kurama warned. "Don't reveal too much. We don't know if we can trust them yet." Anakin and Obi-Wan exchanged glances, having a silent conversation through their Force bond. Finally, Obi-Wan spoke. "Naruto, that's your name, correct? We want to help you, but we need to understand more about you, your abilities, and whether you pose a threat to the Republic." "Threat?" Naruto's eyes flashed with offense. "I save people. On that planet, I protect them from metal soldiers." "We know," Obi-Wan raised a placating hand, "and we're grateful. But you must understand, you appeared out of nowhere with power unlike anything we've encountered. The Jedi Council will want to speak with you. So will the Republic leadership." "Jedi? You two are Jedi? The warriors with light swords." "Lightsabers," Anakin corrected, igniting his with a snap hiss. The blue blade hummed in his grip. "And yes, we're Jedi. We serve the Force, maintain peace, and protect the Republic." Naruto studied the lightsaber with fascination. "Can I try?" "Absolutely not," Obi-Wan said quickly. "Lightsabers require years of training. In untrained hands, they're as dangerous to the wielder as to enemies. Like chakra control. Need training or—" He made an explosion gesture with his hands. Anakin laughed despite himself. "Exactly like that." Over the next several hours, as the negotiator traveled towards Coruscant, Naruto continued learning basic through constant shadow clone study. His progress was astounding. By the time they entered the Coruscant system, he could hold relatively complex conversations, though his grammar remained rough around the edges. During that time, he explained more about his world, the shinobi villages, the concept of chakra, tailed beasts, and his status as a Jinchuriki. The Jedi listened with growing amazement and concern.
"So you have a powerful entity sealed inside you," Obi-Wan confirmed. "One that gives you access to tremendous power." "Kurama," Naruto confirmed, placing a hand on his seal. "He's my friend. We fought together for a long time, saved my world together. And this Kurama? Is it aware? Intelligent?" "Tell them I'm nobody's pet," Kurama growled. "I'm the nine-tailed demon fox, and I've destroyed mountains with a swing of my tails." "Kurama say he very powerful, and kind of grumpy, but good guy, mostly." Anakin found himself relating to Naruto's openness about his emotions. The Jedi Code preached detachment, but here was a warrior of tremendous power who wore his heart on his sleeve, spoke of friendship and bonds without shame, and seemed genuinely distressed about being separated from his loved ones. "Your Jedi Code," Naruto said during one conversation, his basic much improved. "No attachment. No love? That seemed sad." "It's not about being without emotion. It's about not letting emotion control you. Attachment leads to fear of loss. Fear leads to anger, and anger leads to the dark side of the Force." "Dark side? Like evil?" "The Force has two aspects. The light side, peace, knowledge, serenity, and the dark side, anger, fear, hatred, aggression. The Sith use the dark side." "Sith? More bad guys?" "The worst kind." Obi-Wan's expression darkened. "They seek power at all cost, rule through fear, and manipulate others for their own gain. The Jedi have fought the Sith for thousands of years." Naruto's expression grew serious. "In my world, we have people like that. Use power to hurt others, take what they want. I fight them, protect people from them. That what ninja, shinobi do. That what I do." "Even if it means fighting impossible odds?" Anakin asked. "Especially then." Naruto grinned, his characteristic fox-like grin. "I never give up. That my ninja way. No matter how strong enemy, no matter how bad look, I find way to win. To protect precious people. Always." There was such conviction in his voice that even Obi-Wan felt moved. This young man, he couldn't be more than 18 or 19, had a strength of spirit that rivaled any Jedi Master. But there was something else Obi-Wan noticed. When Naruto spoke of protecting others, of never giving up, the Force itself seemed to resonate with him. Not that he was using it, but that his sheer determination created ripples in the cosmic energy field, like a stone thrown into a still pond. The moment was interrupted by a communication from the bridge. "General Kenobi, we're approaching Coruscant. The Council requests immediate audience upon landing." "Understood," Obi-Wan replied. He turned to Naruto. "The Jedi Council will want to meet you. They're the wisest and most powerful Jedi in the galaxy. Just be honest with them, as you've been with us." "They help me get home?" Naruto asked, hopefully. "If anyone can figure out how you got here and how to reverse it, it would be the Council. although he privately doubted even the Council's combined knowledge could solve dimensional travel. As they descended toward Coruscant, Naruto pressed his face against the viewport, staring in wonder at the city planet. Buildings stretched from horizon to horizon, reaching kilometers into the sky. Flying vehicles filled the air lanes in organized streams. The sheer scale of it dwarfed anything from his world. So many people, all living together? Like biggest village ever.
Trillions of beings call Coruscant home, Anakin said, watching Naruto's reaction with amusement. From thousands of different species across the galaxy. Different species? You mean not all human? You're about to discover just how diverse the galaxy is, Obi-Wan smiled. The landing platform at the Jedi Temple was already crowded when they arrived. Masters Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, and Shak Ti stood waiting, their expressions ranging from curious to concerned. Behind them, a full squad of Jedi guards stood ready, their yellow lightsaber pikes humming with active energy. Naruto stepped off the transport, flanked by Obi-Wan and Anakin. He took in the assembled Jedi, noting their defensive postures, and his hand instinctively moved toward his kunai pouch. "Easy, Kit," Kurama rumbled. "No sudden moves. These warriors are powerful in that force energy. I can feel it radiating from the bald one with the purple light sword especially. He's strong." Mace Windu stepped forward, his dark eyes studying Naruto with an intensity that made even the young shinobi uncomfortable. "I am Mace Windu, senior member of the Jedi Council. Obi-Wan has reported your unusual arrival. The Council will see you now." "Council?" Naruto repeated, his accent still thick. "Like Hokage and advisors?" "Essentially." Windu's expression didn't change. "We need to determine if you're a threat to the Republic." Naruto's eyes hardened. "Already told them, I protect people, not hurt them. Saved civilians on that planet." "Intent and action are not always aligned. You possess power we don't understand. That makes you dangerous, whether you intend harm or not." Tension crackled in the air. Naruto's chakra began to leak, creating a barely visible orange aura around his body. The Jedi all felt it, that massive, angry presence that existed beyond the Force, like a caged sun preparing to explode. Anakin stepped between them. "Master Windu, Naruto has been cooperative. He saved hundreds of lives on Raxus Secundus and has done nothing threatening since we brought him aboard. Yet his power alone is a threat. The energy readings from that battle could level entire city blocks." "So could Master Yoda's force powers," Obi-Wan interjected diplomatically. "Power itself is not the issue. Intent is." Naruto took a deep breath, consciously pulling his chakra back under control. "You want test me? Prove I good person? Fine, I do it. But you help me find home after. Deal?" Mace Windu studied him for a long moment, then nodded slightly. "The Council will decide. Come." As they walked through the Jedi Temple, Naruto couldn't help but stare. The architecture was beautiful, all elegant lines and peaceful courtyards. Young students trained with their masters, practicing lightsaber forms or meditation. It reminded him of the academy back in Konoha, but on a much grander scale. One youngling, a small Togruta child, stared at Naruto as they passed. Naruto grinned and waved back. The child giggled and waved back, before her instructor gently redirected her attention. "They train from childhood?" asked Naruto. Force-sensitive children are identified young and brought here for training. They learn to control their abilities and serve the galaxy.
Brought here? Like taken from families? With parental permission, Shakti added. It's considered an honor. Naruto frowned, but said nothing. In his world, ninja academies existed, but children still lived with their families, still knew their parents. The idea of taking kids away entirely struck him as wrong, but he held his tongue. This wasn't his world, and these weren't his customs. The council chamber was a circular room at the top of one of the temple's tallest spires. 12 seats arranged in a circle, most filled with Jedi masters of various species. And in one seat, a small green figure with enormous ears and ancient eyes that seemed to see straight through to Naruto's soul. Master Yoda. "That one," Kurama whispered. "That small creature is saturated with that force energy, stronger than all the others combined. Don't underestimate him." Naruto stood in the center of the circle as the council members studied him. He felt like a specimen under examination, and he didn't like it, but he held his tongue. This wasn't his world, and these weren't his customs. "Naruto Uzumaki," Yoda's voice was surprisingly strong for such a small being. "From another world, you claim to be?" "Not claim, I am from another world, elemental nations, planet called Earth, but not this Earth. Different dimension? Universe? Not sure right word." "And how came you to our galaxy?" Mace Windu asked. Naruto explained the battle, the collision of space-time techniques, and the resulting dimensional tear. As he spoke, several council members reached out with the Force, trying to sense deception. They found none, just conviction and confusion. "This power you possess, this chakra, it operates independently of the Force?" "Think so," Naruto nodded. "Your Force feels different, like ocean, everywhere, constant. My chakra, more like fire inside, mine, personal." "And the entity within you, this Kurama, we can sense it, an entity of immense power and anger." "Anger," Kurama snarled. "I'll show them anger." "Kurama not angry anymore. Was, long time ago, but we friends now. Partners. He saved my life many times. I save his. We trust each other." "A bond with such a creature could be dangerous if it were to take control." "Won't happen," Naruto's voice carried absolute certainty. "We share this body. Neither control other. We work together." He placed a hand on his seal. "Kurama, show them." For a moment, nothing happened. Then Naruto's eyes shifted to slitted pupils, and when he spoke, the voice was layered, Naruto's voice, and something deeper, older, infinitely more dangerous. "I am Kurama, the nine-tailed demon fox. In my world, I was feared as a force of destruction. Villages fell before me. Thousands died by my power." The voice paused, and when it continued, it carried something unexpected, gentleness. "But this boy saw past the fear, saw past the hatred. He offered friendship when everyone else offered only chains. So I choose to fight beside him. I choose to protect what he protects. Judge me as you will, but know this, I will allow no harm to come to my container, my partner, my friend." The eyes shifted back to normal blue. Naruto grinned sheepishly. He little dramatic sometimes. The council chamber was silent for a long moment. Finally, Yoda spoke, and his tone carried something that might have been approval. "Strong your bond is, built on mutual respect and trust. Rare such connections are, valuable." "However," Mace Windu interjected, "your power remains concerning. You fought off an entire battalion single-handedly. You possess abilities we cannot predict or counter. Until we understand more, we cannot allow you free movement." Naruto's jaw set stubbornly. "What you mean? Keep me prisoner?" "Protective custody," Windu corrected, "for everyone's safety." "I save people and you lock me up? That's your gratitude?"
"Naruto," Obi-Wan said gently, "they're not trying to punish you. They're trying to understand. Just give them time." Before Naruto could respond, an alarm blared throughout the temple. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. A Republic officer, his expression panicked. "Masters, Separatist forces are attacking the Kalita Shoals medical station. They're overwhelming the defense fleet. If the station falls, thousands of wounded clone troopers will be lost." The council members were instantly on their feet. "How many ships?" Mace demanded. "Initial reports show a full Separatist fleet, including General Grievous's flagship. Our forces are outnumbered 3-1. Yoda's ears drooped. "Send reinforcements we must. Master Windu, take your team. Evacuate the wounded. Priority 1 is..." As the council began coordinating response teams, Naruto stepped forward. "I help." Everyone turned to look at him. "You want to help?" Anakin asked. "People in danger, right? Wounded soldiers?" Naruto's expression was serious. "Then I help. That what I do." "Absolutely not," Mace said firmly. "You're not trained in our combat methods, unfamiliar with our technology, and strong enough take on whole army alone," Naruto interrupted. "You saw recording. You know what I can do." He met Mace's eyes directly. "You want to trust me. Let me prove it. Let me help save those people." Obi-Wan exchanged glances with Anakin, then spoke up. "Master, he has a point. We need every able fighter we can get, and his unconventional abilities might give us an edge." "I second Master Kenobi's proposal," Kit Fisto added with his characteristic grin. "Besides, I'm curious to see what this young warrior can do when he's fighting alongside us rather than alone." Yoda was silent for a long moment, his eyes closed in meditation. The Force swirled around him as he considered the possibilities, the threads of fate and chance that led to this moment. Finally, his eyes opened.
"Allow him to help, we will, but supervised he must be. Master Skywalker, Master Kenobi, with him you will go. Keep him safe. Keep others safe from him, if necessary." "I won't let you down," Naruto promised, his eyes blazing with determination. "Nobody dies, I promise." As they rushed toward the hangars, Anakin fell into step beside Naruto. "You know, making promises like that before a battle is usually bad luck." Naruto grinned his fox-like grin. "Good thing I don't believe in luck. I believe in ninja way, and ninja ways say never give up, never break promises. So if I say nobody dies, then nobody dies." Anakin found himself grinning back despite the situation. "You know what, Naruto? I think I'm going to like having you around. Just wait till you see what I can really do. On that planet, I was holding back, didn't want hurt too many. But if these Separatists threatening wounded soldiers," his expression hardened, "I show them why you don't mess with Naruto Uzumaki." As the Republic transports launched toward the battle, carrying Jedi, clone troopers, and one interdimensional shinobi, none of them knew that this would be the beginning of something that would change the galaxy forever. High above Coruscant, in a concealed observation post, Count Dooku watched the departing ships with interest. "So, the mysterious warrior fights for the Republic now," he mused. "How unfortunate. But perhaps he can still be turned. Such power should not be wasted on the Jedi's failing cause." And in the depths of Coruscant's political district, in an office that commanded the Republic's Senate, Sheev Palpatine sat in shadows, his hands steepled before him. He had felt the disturbance in the Force, sensed this new player on the board.
an unknown variable in his carefully orchestrated plans. "Interesting," he whispered, his yellow eyes gleaming. "Very interesting indeed. Let's see what you're truly capable of, young Naruto, and whether you'll survive long enough to matter."
The Republic medical station hung in space like a delicate flower in a storm, its white hull reflecting the flashes of turbo-laser fire that crisscrossed the void around it. Clone trooper pilots screamed coordinates over comms as V-19 Torrent starfighters dove and weaved through swarms of vulture droids. The Separatist fleet, 3 Munificent-class frigates and General Grievous's modified Providence-class carrier, pounded the station's shields with relentless bombardment. Inside the LAAT gunship racing toward the chaos, Naruto pressed his face against the viewport, watching the space battle with wide eyes. Ships exploded in silent bursts of flame. Tiny fighters spawned and fired, their movements like a deadly dance. It was beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. "First time in a space battle?" Anakin asked, from the pilot's seat, expertly banking around a destroyed Separatist fighter. "First time in space at all," Naruto admitted, his knuckles white as he gripped the safety harness. "In my world, we don't have ships like this. Biggest thing we got is boats." Obi-Wan, standing beside him with the casual balance of someone who'd spent years in combat zones, offered a reassuring smile. "Try not to think about the fact that you're hurtling through the vacuum of space in a metal box while people shoot at you. It helps with the nerves." "That's supposed to help?" Naruto yelped as the gunship shook from a near miss. "Kit, focus," Kurama's voice rumbled in his mind. "Your friends need you calm. Show them what a shinobi can do." Naruto took a deep breath, centering himself the way he'd been taught. Fear was natural. Courage was choosing to act despite it. "Okay, what's the plan?" "The Republic medical station's shields are failing," Anakin explained, his hands dancing across the controls as he dodged another barrage. "Once they're down, Grievous will board with his droid army and slaughter everyone inside. Patients, medical staff, everyone. We need to hold them off until reinforcements arrive." "How long until reinforcements?" 20 minutes, maybe 30. "And how many droids we facing?" "Initial scans show approximately 3,000 battle droids, plus destroyer droids, super battle droids, and General Grievous himself." Obi-Wan ignited his lightsaber, checking its power cell. "Grievous is a cybernetic general, part organic, mostly machine. He's killed dozens of Jedi. He wields 4 lightsabers simultaneously and has no fear of death." Naruto's expression grew serious. "Then we don't let him reach the patients. Simple." "Simple, he says." Anakin laughed, but there was approval in his eyes. "I like your attitude. But Naruto, you need to understand. Out here, if your suit breaches, you die. No air in space. Stay inside the station, follow our lead, and don't try to be a hero alone." "But being hero is what I do," Naruto protested. "Then be a smart hero," Obi-Wan countered. "Work with us. We fought together for years. Anakin and I move as one unit. If you want to help, you need to fit into that unit, not charge off alone." Naruto wanted to argue, but the wisdom in Obi-Wan's words rang true. Back home, he fought alongside Team 7, alongside the Allied shinobi forces. Teamwork had always been his strength, even if he sometimes forgot that in the heat of battle. "Okay. What you need me to do?" Before either Jedi could answer, the medical station shields finally collapsed in a cascade of failing energy. Separatist boarding craft, ugly beetle-like vessels, immediately launched from Grievous's carrier, racing toward the station's docking ports. "That's our cue." Anakin pushed the engines to maximum. "Hang on." The gunship screamed through the debris field, narrowly avoiding collision with a destroyed ARC-170. Other Republic ships followed, gunships full of clone troopers, Jedi starfighters providing escort. They reached the station's main hangar just as the first Separatist boarding craft breached the atmospheric shield.
The hangar was chaos. Medical personnel in white and blue uniforms scrambled to evacuate wounded clones on repulsor gurneys. Clone troopers in red-marked armor, medical unit guards, took defensive positions as the Separatist craft's doors hissed open. Battle droids poured out like a metal tide, hundreds of them, their photoreceptors glowing red, blasters firing indiscriminately. Several medical staff fell in the first volley, their screams cut short. "For the Republic!" Commander Cody's voice rang out as clone troopers returned fire, their training and discipline evident even in the chaos. Anakin and Obi-Wan leapt from the still-moving gunship, lightsabers blazing. Blue and green blades deflected blaster bolts with impossible precision, sending them back into the droid ranks. The Jedi moved like dancers in a deadly ballet, each movement flowing into the next. Naruto jumped down beside them, and immediately 20 shadow clones exploded into existence around him. The clones didn't wait for orders. They scattered into the chaos with the coordination that came from being the same person. Some grabbed wounded soldiers, pulling them to safety behind cover. Others engaged the droids directly, kunai flashing as they targeted joints and photoreceptors. "Whoa," a clone trooper briefed, watching 5 Narutos simultaneously take down a squad of battle droids through coordinated taijutsu strikes. "Did you see that?" A super battle droid crashed through a stack of medical supplies, its wrist blasters tracking toward a cornered medical technician. Before it could fire, Naruto Prime was there, a Rasengan forming in his palm. The spiraling sphere of blue chakra punched through the droid's torso like tissue paper, and the machine collapsed in a shower of sparks. The technician, a young Twi'lek woman, stared up at Naruto in shock. "What? What are you?" "Someone who keeps promises," Naruto grinned, helping her to her feet. "Get to the escape pods. Go." More boarding craft attached to the station's hull. The battle was spreading through the corridors like wildfire. Obi-Wan's comlink crackled with desperate calls for help from every section. "They're coming through Medical Bay 7. We're pinned down in Corridor 13. Destroyer droids in the main ward. We can't hold them." Obi-Wan made a split-second decision. "Anakin, take the Medical Bay. I'll handle Corridor 13. Naruto, I go where most danger is. Where are these destroyer droids?" "Main ward, 3 levels up. But Naruto, destroyer droids have shield generators. Lightsabers can penetrate eventually, but—" "I figure it out," Naruto promised. He formed the cross seal, and suddenly 50 clones filled the hangar. "You guys, protect the evacuation. Make sure every wounded soldier gets out. I handle the droids." Before either Jedi could protest, Naruto and a squad of his clones were sprinting toward the turbolifts, moving with a speed that left even Anakin impressed. "Should we be worried?" Anakin asked. "Undoubtedly. But I suspect the droid should be more worried. Come on."
The main medical ward was a nightmare. Destroyer droids, rolling death machines with powerful shields and twin blaster cannons, had the entire section pinned down. Clone medics crouched behind overturned beds, trying desperately to shield their patients as blaster fire tore through medical equipment. Several troopers lay motionless, their armor scorched. Then, Naruto crashed through the ceiling. He landed in the center of the ward in a crouch, having used chakra to punch through the upper level rather than waste time with doors. The destroyer droids immediately swiveled toward him, their shields shimmering with activation. "Identify yourself," one droid demanded in its mechanical voice. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm about to wreck your day." Naruto shot back, his basic now fluid enough for battle banter. The droids opened fire. Naruto created a wall of shadow clones that took the hits, dispelling in clouds of smoke, but buying him precious seconds. While the droids were distracted, he was already forming hand seals. Wind style, Rasen Shuriken. The technique formed in his hand, a Rasengan surrounded by 4 rotating blades of wind chakra, screaming with barely contained power. Even Kurama stirred at the technique's deployment. "Kit, that jutsu damages your arm at cellular level. You sure about this?" "These people need help. I'm sure. Naruto hurled the Rasen Shuriken. The spinning disk of chakra struck the lead destroyer droid shield and for a moment seemed to stop. Then the microscopic wind blades began cutting through the energy barrier at a molecular level, unraveling the shield's cohesion. The technique penetrated and struck the droid directly. The explosion was catastrophic. The destroyer droid literally came apart, its components shredded by thousands of microscopic wind blades. The two droids flanking it were caught in the radius, their shields overwhelmed and their chassis torn apart. Naruto landed breathing hard, his right arm throbbing. Worth it. The medical staff stared in stunned silence. "Everyone okay?" Naruto asked, shaking out his arm as Kurama's healing factor already began repairing the damage. A clone medic with orange markings stepped forward, removing his helmet to reveal a face aged beyond his actual years, all clones aged at twice the normal rate. That was, "We're alive because of you. Thank you." "No thanks needed. Just doing what's right. Can you walk? We need evacuate." "The patients, some are too injured to move." "Then we carry them we need to evacuate," Naruto said simply. He created 30 more clones. "Load them on our backs if we have to. Nobody gets left behind." The medic's eyes widened. "You're serious?" "Dead serious. That's my promise. Nobody dies today. Now let's move." 3 levels down, Anakin carved through a squad of battle droids with aggressive precision, his fighting style a stark contrast to Obi-Wan's defensive mastery. His blue lightsaber was a blur, and he used the Force to hurl droids into walls, crush their chassis, or send them flying into their comrades. A clone commander fought beside him, laying down covering fire. "General Skywalker, we're getting reports of someone single-handedly clearing entire sections. Orange jacket, blonde hair, creates copies of himself." Anakin grinned. "That's our new friend. Told you he was something special." "Special's one word for it, sir. The men are calling him the clone shinobi because of his duplication technique and the way he fights. They've never seen anything like it." "Neither have I," Anakin admitted, deflecting a lightsaber bolt back into a super battle droid's head. "But he fights like he genuinely cares about every single life here. It's refreshing." An explosion rocked the section. Through the smoke, a massive figure emerged. General Grievous himself, his 4 arms each holding a lightsaber taken from fallen Jedi. The cyborg general's eyes glowed yellow, and his mechanical breathing filled the corridor with a menacing wheeze. "Skywalker," Grievous hissed in a metallic rasp. "Count Dooku sends his regards." Anakin raised his lightsaber. "Grievous, finally. I've been wanting this. The feeling is mutual, Jedi. You will be a fine addition to my collection." They clashed in a fury of sparks and screeching metal. Grievous fought with mechanical precision and overwhelming speed, his 4 blades attacking from multiple angles simultaneously. Anakin gave ground, using the Force to enhance his reflexes, but even he struggled against the sheer brutality of the assault. A lightsaber slash came too close, singing the edge of Anakin's robes. Another forced him to dodge into a wall. Grievous was pressing his advantage, driving Anakin toward a corner where the cyborg's numerical advantage would be overwhelming. Then a Rasengan slammed into Grievous's side. The impact sent the general sprawling, his mechanical body skidding across the deck plating. Naruto landed in a combat stance between Anakin and the recovering cyborg, one hand still glowing with residual chakra.
"You okay?" Naruto asked, without taking his eyes off Grievous. "Better now." Anakin breathed, impressed. "Thanks for the save." Grievous rose, his photoreceptors focusing on this new threat. "What are you? You're not a Jedi." "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and you just made a big mistake threatening my friends." "Friends." Grievous's mechanical laugh was unsettling. I've killed dozens of Jedi, boy. Their friendship didn't save them. Neither will yours."
"Then you never had real friends," Naruto replied, his voice sad despite the situation. "Because real friends make you stronger. Watch, I'll show you." Naruto glanced at Anakin. "That technique you do, with the light sword, can you teach me the basics, right now?" "Are you insane? It takes years to—" "I learn fast, really fast. Just show me the stance, how you move. My clones will do the rest." Understanding dawned in Anakin's eyes. "You're incredible, you know that." He shifted into a basic lightsaber form. "This is Shicho, the most fundamental form. Focus on defense and redirection. Watch." He demonstrated 3 basic movements: parry, riposte, defensive circle. It took 30 seconds. Naruto created 10 clones, each one observed from a different angle, memorizing the movements, the weight distribution, the flow of energy. When they dispelled, Naruto suddenly moved with a fighter's grace he hadn't possessed moments before. Not a master, but no longer a complete novice. "Impossible," Grievous hissed. "You cannot learn lightsaber combat in seconds." "You'd be surprised what I can do," Naruto shot back. He pulled a kunai, channeling chakra through it until the blade glowed with blue energy, extending its effective length. It wasn't a lightsaber, but the principle was similar enough. "Anakin, together!" Anakin grinned fiercely. "Together." They attacked in tandem, Anakin's aggressive style complemented by Naruto's unpredictable movements and shadow clone reinforcements. Every time Grievous adapted to their pattern, a new clone would appear from an unexpected angle, forcing the cyborg to divide his attention. Grievous was still faster, still more experienced with bladed weapons, but he'd never fought anyone who could literally be in 5 places at once, or who could enhance their physical strength with an entirely different energy system than the Force. A clone feinted high. Grievous moved to block. The real Naruto came low, his chakra-enhanced kunai slicing through one of the cyborg's legs at the knee joint. Grievous stumbled, his superior balance momentarily compromised. Anakin seized the opening, using the Force to rip 2 lightsabers from Grievous's grip. Now the general fought with only 2 blades, and the odds had shifted. "You fight well together," Grievous admitted, his tactical processors recognizing defeat when they saw it. "But this is not over, Jedi. Not by far." The general triggered something on his wrist. Explosive charges detonated throughout the section, filling the corridor with smoke and debris. When it cleared, Grievous was gone, having used the chaos to retreat to his ship. "Coward," Anakin spat. "Smart coward," Naruto corrected, dispelling his remaining clones. He knew he couldn't win, chose to survive and fight another day. Can't fault that logic, even if I hate that he hurt people. Anakin looked at Naruto with newfound respect. "That thing you did, learning to fight alongside me in the middle of battle, that was teamwork," Naruto finished. "Told you, that's what I do best. Nobody's strong enough alone, but together?" He offered his fist for a bump. "Together, we can do anything." Anakin stared at the offered fist for a moment, then smiled and bumped it with his own. "You know what, Naruto? You might be the weirdest person I've ever met, but I think we're going to be good friends." End. The battle wound down as Separatist forces retreated, unable to hold their positions against the combined might of Jedi, clone troopers, and one very determined shinobi. Republic reinforcements arrived to find the medical station damaged but functional and, miraculously, with minimal casualties among the patients. In the station's command center, Obi-Wan reviewed the casualty reports with disbelief. 12 wounded, 3 critical. No deaths among the patients or medical staff. That's unprecedented for an engagement of this scale. "It's because of him," Commander Cody said, gesturing to where Naruto sat with a group of clone troopers, laughing and sharing ration bars. Anakin joined them, overhearing the conversation. "He promised nobody would die. Looks like he kept that promise." "Impressive," Obi-Wan admitted, "though I'm concerned about how easily he adapted to our combat methods. That learning ability of his is extraordinary, but also potentially dangerous. What if the Separatist captured him, forced him to teach him his techniques?"
"They'd have to capture him first," Anakin pointed out. "And after today, I don't think that's possible. Did you see what he did to those destroyer droids? Or when he fought beside me against Grievous?
Obi-Wan, this kid might be the most naturally talented fighter I've ever encountered. Natural talent isn't the same as discipline or wisdom, Obi-Wan cautioned. He's powerful, yes, brave, certainly, but he is also impulsive and emotional. Those traits are what make him effective, Anakin interrupted, an edge in his voice. The Jedi Code preaches detachment, but look at him. They both watched as Naruto animatedly described the battle to the fascinated clones, his hands moving expressively. He cares about every single person here. Not as duty, not as obligation. He genuinely connects with them, and they respond to that. Obi-Wan studied his former apprentice carefully. You see yourself in him. Maybe, Anakin admitted. Or maybe I see what I wish the Jedi Order was. We're so focused on not feeling that we forget why we fight in the first place. To protect people. To give them hope. Naruto doesn't need a code to tell him that. He just knows. Before Obi-Wan could respond, an alarm blared. The holographic display flickered to life, showing a new contact approaching the station. A sleek solar sailor with Separatist markings, but flying under a diplomatic flag. What now? Anakin groaned. The communication channel opened, and Count Dooku's refined voice filled the command center. Jedi, I wish to speak with the warrior in orange, the one called Naruto, alone. Obi-Wan and Anakin exchanged alarmed glances. Absolutely not, Obi-Wan replied. You have nothing to say. Oh, but I do, Dooku interrupted smoothly. You see, I have information about how young Naruto arrived in our galaxy. Information about dimensional rifts and the force techniques required to reverse them. Information that could send him home. Naruto, who had approached upon hearing his name, spoke up. You can send me home? Naruto, don't listen to him, Anakin warned. Dooku is a Sith Lord. He's manipulating you. Perhaps. Or perhaps I'm simply offering a trade. Information for conversation. No violence, no tricks. Just two warriors discussing philosophy and power. What say you, Naruto Uzumaki? Are you brave enough to hear what I have to say? Naruto looked at Obi-Wan and Anakin, saw the concern in their faces, then looked back at the hologram. If there's a chance you know how I get home, I gotta hear it. But I'm not stupid. You try anything, and I'll kick your ass. Dooku's smile was genuine amusement. I would expect nothing less. Very well. I'll dock with the station in 10 minutes. Come alone, or the offer is rescinded. The hologram cut out. The command center erupted in protests, but Naruto raised a hand. I'm going. Naruto, this is a trap, Obi-Wan insisted. Maybe, but what if it's not? What if he really knows how to get me home? Naruto's expression was conflicted. I got friends waiting for me, a village that needs me. I can't just ignore this chance. Then we come with you, Anakin decided. He said alone. You come, he might leave. I can't risk that. Naruto placed a hand on each Jedi's shoulder. Trust me, I fought gods in my world, saved my planet from moon falling from sky. I can handle one old man with bad fashion sense. Despite the tension, Anakin snorted a laugh. Bad fashion sense. That's one way to describe a Sith Lord. Besides, Naruto added with a grin, if it's trap, I got Kurama, right, buddy? I've been waiting for an excuse to stretch my tails, Kurama rumbled approvingly. If this Dooku threatens you, I'll show him why demons were feared across our world. 10 minutes later, Naruto stood alone in the station's secondary hangar as Dooku's solar sailor gracefully descended through the atmospheric shield. The elegant ship was a stark contrast to the boxy, utilitarian Republic vessels surrounding it. Count Dooku emerged, his movements refined and dignified. He was elderly, but carried himself with the confidence of someone who had mastered violence to such a degree that he no longer needed to prove it. His curved lightsaber hilt hung at his belt, unthreatening but unmistakably present. Naruto Uzumaki, Dooku greeted him with a slight bow. "Thank you for agreeing to speak with me." "Cut the polite crap," Naruto replied, though his tone wasn't hostile. "You said you know how I got here. Talk." "Direct. I appreciate that. Tell me, young warrior, what do you see when you look at this war?" "What?" "Humor me. The Republic and Separatists. Who do you believe is right?" Naruto frowned, suspecting a trap, but unable to resist the question. "Don't know enough yet. Republic saved me, gave me chance to help, but, Dooku prompted. "But I seen their clone army. Soldiers grown in tubes, built for war, told what to do their whole lives. That feel wrong. And Jedi, they're good people, I think, but they talk about no attachment, no emotion. That feel wrong too. In my world, we fight because we got people to protect, people we love. If you can't love, why fight at all?" Dooku's smile was approving. "Astute observations. Tell me, has anyone explained to you why we Separatists fight?" "You're the bad guys," Naruto said flatly. "You attack medical stations, use droid armies to hurt people. And the Republic uses slave soldiers, your word, not mine, to maintain control over systems that wish to govern themselves. The Galaxy Republic is corrupt, Naruto. Senators who serve only their own interests. A chancellor who accumulates power with every emergency measure. Corporations that exploit entire planets while the Senate looks the other way. We Separatists simply want freedom from that corruption. By using droid armies? By having generals like Grievous who kill anyone in their way? War is ugly, Dooku acknowledged. I don't deny that. But is it more ugly than systematic oppression? Than a democracy that exists in name only? He stepped closer, his voice lowering. You have power beyond anything this galaxy has seen, Naruto. Power that could change everything. End this war. Bring true peace. By joining you? Naruto's eyes narrowed. By thinking for yourself, Dooku corrected. The Jedi will try to control you, mold you to their philosophy, suppress your emotions and your strength. I offer something different. Freedom to use your power as you see fit. Freedom to forge your own path. And in return, I teach you about the Force, about dimensional rifts and the ancient Sith techniques that could send you home. Knowledge the Jedi either don't possess or won't share. Naruto was quiet for a long moment. Kurama's presence stirred in his mind. Kit, be careful. This one's words carry truth mixed with poison. That's the most dangerous kind of lie. I write about some things, Naruto finally said. Republic got problems. Clone soldiers shouldn't exist. And Jedi philosophy about emotions is messed up. But you're wrong about the solution. Am I? Yeah, because ending corruption with violence just creates new corruption. Breaking chains with war just builds new chains. I learned that hard way in my world. Naruto met Dooku's eyes directly. You talk about freedom, but I felt that dark energy you use, that dark side thing. It's not about freedom, it's about power, control, just different kind of chains. Dooku's expression hardened slightly. You're very young to be so certain. And you're very old to still not get it, Naruto shot back. Real change doesn't come from choosing Republic or Separatist, light or dark. It comes from understanding, from talking to people, finding common ground, believing everyone can be better. How naive, Dooku said, but there was something in his tone, not quite respect, but acknowledgement. The galaxy doesn't work that way, young one. People are sheep. They need shepherds to guide them, whether they admit it or not.
That's where you're wrong. Naruto's voice carried absolute conviction. Every person's got potential to be great, to choose good over evil. Sometimes they just need someone to believe in them first. That's what my old teacher taught me. That's what I believe.
Dooku studied him silently, and Naruto realized the Sith Lord was genuinely surprised. "You truly believe that?" Not naive optimism, but genuine conviction born from experience. Fascinating. You've seen darkness. I can sense it in you. Yet you chose light anyway. Not light or dark, just my way, ninja way. Never give up on anyone. Never turn back on friends. Never break a promise. Those my rules. Only rules I need. "Then we are at an impasse," Dooku said with a slight smile. "I cannot convince you to join the Separatists, and you cannot convince me to abandon my cause. But perhaps—" He reached into his robes, pulling out a small data crystal. "A gesture of good faith. This contains research I've done on dimensional anomalies and force rifts. It may help you understand how you arrived here. Consider it a gift." Naruto eyed the crystal suspiciously. "Why? What's the catch?" "No catch. Call it investment in the future. You interest me, Naruto Uzumaki. You're unlike anyone I've encountered. Not Jedi, not Sith. Perhaps something entirely new. I'm curious to see what you'll become, what you'll choose when the real war begins." "Real war?" Naruto frowned. "This isn't real?" "This," Dooku gestured dismissively, "this is theater. Pieces being moved on a board by players you haven't even met yet. When you discover the truth, and you will, you're too perceptive not to. Remember that I offered you honesty when others offered only manipulation disguised as righteousness." Before Naruto could respond, Dooku tossed the data crystal. Naruto caught it reflexively. The Sith Lord bowed slightly, then turned back to his ship. "Wait!" Naruto called out. "You said you'd tell me about getting home." "I said I had information. I never said I'd tell you everything," Dooku replied without turning. "Earn the rest, young shinobi. Prove you're worth the investment. And remember, the Force is not the only path to power in this universe. Your chakra proves that. Perhaps there are other truths the Jedi have kept hidden. Perhaps your arrival here was not accident at all." The solar sailor lifted off, leaving Naruto standing alone with more questions than answers. When Obi-Wan and Anakin rushed into the hangar moments later, weapons drawn, they found him staring at the data crystal in his palm. "Are you all right?" Obi-Wan asked urgently. "What did Dooku say?" "A lot of things. Some true, some lies, some I can't tell which." He looked up at the Jedi. "He gave me this. Said it has information about dimensional anomalies and force rifts."
"Don't trust anything from Dooku," Anakin warned. "It's probably a trap." "Maybe," Naruto agreed, "but maybe not. Only one way find out." He pocketed the crystal. "For now, let's get these wounded back to Coruscant. Then we figure out what's really going on in this galaxy." As they walked back through the station, Anakin fell into step beside Naruto. "What you said back there to Dooku about not giving up on anyone, about everyone having potential to be great, did you mean that? Even about people like him?" "Especially people like him," Naruto said softly. "In my world, I fought a guy who wanted to destroy everything. Talked to him, made him understand pain he was causing. He changed, helped save world in the end.
If he could change, anyone can. Anakin was quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was strained. What if someone's done terrible things? Things that can't be forgiven? Do they still deserve chance at redemption? Naruto stopped walking and looked at Anakin directly. The Chosen One, the Jedi called him. But Naruto saw something else in those blue eyes. Fear, guilt, and a darkness struggling against the light. Everyone deserves a chance, Naruto said firmly. Doesn't mean they'll take it, doesn't mean they'll succeed, but the chance itself. That's what makes us different from the bad guys. We believe people can change. We believe in second chances. That's what heroes do. Something in Anakin's expression shifted. Relief? Hope, maybe. Gratitude. Thank you, Naruto. I needed to hear that. Anytime, Naruto grinned, breaking the heavy moment. That's what friends are for, right? Right, Anakin smiled back. Friends. As the Republic fleet prepared to leave the Khalida Shoals, carrying its precious cargo of wounded but living soldiers, none of them knew how significant this day would become. In the medical bay, clone troopers traded stories about the clone shinobi who fought beside them. In the command center, Jedi Masters debated what to do about this dimensional anomaly. And in Coruscant's darkest political offices, Darth Sidious reviewed holographic footage of Naruto's battle prowess with calculating yellow eyes. Fascinating, the Sith Lord murmured. Power without the Force? Conviction without training. He's either the greatest threat to my plans or the greatest opportunity. Time will tell which. But in that moment, as Naruto looked out at the stars and thought of home, he made a silent promise. He'd figure out this galaxy's mysteries. He'd help these people however he could, and he'd find his way back to Konoha, because that was his ninja way, and he never, ever gave up.
The Jedi Temple's archives were a repository of knowledge spanning millennia. Crystalline data towers reaching toward vaulted ceilings, holographic displays flickering with ancient texts, and the ever-present hum of information flowing through quantum processors. Jocasta Nu, the chief librarian, watched with barely concealed irritation as 50 identical Narutos occupied every available terminal, their fingers moving at blinding speed across haptic interfaces. This is highly irregular, she informed Obi-Wan, who stood beside her with an expression that suggested he was trying very hard not to laugh. The archives are meant for contemplative research, not whatever this is. Learning, Obi-Wan replied diplomatically. Naruto is attempting to understand our galaxy's history, politics, and cultures. Given his unique learning method, I thought this would be the most efficient approach. Efficient, Jocasta repeated flatly, watching as one Naruto accidentally knocked over a stack of holocrons, causing 3 others to dive to catch them in a scene more reminiscent of acrobats than scholars. That's certainly one word for it. Naruto Prime, sitting at the central terminal with Anakin beside him, was reviewing the data crystal Dooku had given him. The Jedi Council had examined it thoroughly for traps, viruses, or Sith corruption before allowing Naruto access. What they'd found was surprising. Legitimate research on dimensional anomalies, force rifts, and theoretical physics that pushed the boundaries of even the archives' vast knowledge. This doesn't make sense, Anakin muttered, scrolling through equations that made his head hurt. Why would Dooku just give you actual useful information? Because he playing long game. He plant seed. Make me question Jedi, question Republic, hope it grows into doubt. And is it working? Anakin asked carefully. Naruto was quiet for a moment, then gestured to one of his clones who'd been researching the Clone Wars' origins. The clone dispelled, and Naruto's expression grew troubled as the memories flooded in. Did you know Separatists started because systems felt ignored by Republic Senate, because corporations had more power than entire planets, because people were starving while Coruscant threw parties. Naruto's voice carried disappointment. That's in your own archives, not separatist propaganda, your own history. Anakin shifted uncomfortably. The Republic has problems, yes, but the Separatists are also wrong, Naruto interrupted. Using droid armies, attacking civilians, working with Sith, both sides doing terrible things, both sides think they're right. That's what makes this war so messed up. So, what's your solution? Naruto challenged. Tell both sides to stop fighting and talk it out? This is war, Naruto. It's not that simple. Maybe not, Naruto acknowledged. But someone needs to try. Because right now, only people winning are whoever's selling weapons and whoever wants power. Everyone else just dying. Before Anakin could respond, Master Yoda entered the archives, his gimmer stick tapping softly against the polished floor. The ancient Jedi Master surveyed the controlled chaos of Naruto's clones with an expression that might have been amusement. Learning much, you are, Yoda observed, approaching them. But knowledge alone, wisdom is not. Naruto dismissed his clones with a gesture, their accumulated knowledge integrating into his consciousness. He stood and bowed respectfully. His clones had researched proper Jedi etiquette. Master Yoda, I'm trying to understand this galaxy, figure out what I fit in. Fit, you say? Believe you must fit into something you do? Well, yeah, Naruto frowned. Back home, I'm ninja of Hidden Leaf Village. I got purpose, mission. Here, I'm just stranger who fell from the sky. Perhaps, Yoda mused, stranger who fell from sky is exactly what galaxy needs. Too comfortable in our ways the Jedi have become, too certain of our path. You bring fresh eyes, fresh perspective. Valuable, that is. The Council doesn't seem to think so, Naruto said with more bitterness than he intended. They still watch me like I'm about to explode. Fear they do, Yoda admitted frankly. Fear what they do not understand. Fear power outside their control. But wrong they are. Feel the light in you, I do. Strong it is, unshakable.
The little green one is wise, Kurama rumbled approvingly. He sees through surfaces to truth beneath. Rare quality in any world. Master Yoda, Naruto said slowly, forming a question that had been bothering him since his conversation with Dooku. Is it possible my coming here wasn't accident? That something or someone brought me here on purpose? Yoda's expression grew grave. Possible, many things are. The Force works in mysterious ways. But if true this is, ask yourself, why? Why you? Why now? That's what scares me, Naruto admitted. What if I'm supposed to do something here, change something, but I don't know what, and I might mess it up? Yoda hummed thoughtfully. Worry about destiny, young warriors often do. But simple truth, I tell you, destiny is what you make it. Your choices, your actions, these shape the future, not some predetermined path. That's actually really helpful, Naruto said, relieved. Thank you. Now, Yoda's tone shifted to businesslike. Summon you, the Chancellor does. Audience in Senate building, he requests. Wish to meet you personally, he does. Anakin and Naruto exchanged glances. The Supreme Chancellor wants to meet me? Why? Hero of Kalita Shoals you are. Story of your valor spread through military. Morale boost for troops you have become. Chancellor wishes to thank you personally, and perhaps understand you better. Something in Yoda's tone made Naruto's instincts prickle.
You don't trust him. Yoda was silent for a long moment. Trust the position, I do. The man himself. Clouded he is. Difficult to see clearly. Careful around him you must be. Sees opportunities where others see people. The Senate building dominated Coruscant's governmental district, a massive mushroom-shaped structure where the fate of trillions was decided daily. Naruto, escorted by Anakin and Obi-Wan, felt distinctly out of place in his repaired orange jacket among the senators in their elaborate robes and the guards in pristine armor. They were led through opulent corridors to the Chancellor's private office, a circular room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the endless cityscape. And there, behind an elegant desk, sat Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. He was an elderly man with a grandfatherly demeanor, his face lined with what appeared to be kindness and concern. When he stood to greet them, his smile seemed genuinely warm. "Ah, the hero himself, Naruto Uzumaki. I've heard such remarkable things about you. Please, sit." Naruto sat cautiously, while Anakin and Obi-Wan remained standing. Something felt off, though he couldn't pinpoint what. The Chancellor seemed nice enough, but— "Kit, that man reeks of malice," Kurama growled urgently. "I can smell it on him like rot beneath perfume. That's the dark presence I've been sensing since we arrived. It's him." Naruto's eyes widened slightly, but he kept his expression neutral. "You sure?" "Absolutely. Whatever he is, he's dangerous. More dangerous than anyone else we've met in this galaxy. Be very, very careful." "I wanted to personally thank you for your actions at Khalida Shoals. Because of you, hundreds of our brave soldiers survived. The Republic owes you a debt of gratitude." "Just did what was right," Naruto replied, studying the Chancellor carefully. Now that Kurama had pointed it out, he could sense it too. Something cold beneath the warm exterior, like ice hidden under a blanket. "I wanted to personally thank you for your actions at Khalida Shoals. Because of you, hundreds of our brave soldiers survived. The Republic owes you a debt of gratitude." "Just did what was right," Naruto replied, studying the Chancellor carefully. Now that Kurama had pointed it out, he could sense it too. Something cold beneath the warm exterior, like ice hidden under a blanket. "Ah, but it didn't. This brings me to my proposal. The Republic could greatly benefit from someone of your unique talents. I'd like to offer you an official position, Special Operations Consultant, answering directly to my office. You'd have access to resources, intelligence, and the freedom to make a real difference in this war." "With respect, Chancellor," Obi-Wan interjected smoothly. "Naruto is not a citizen of the Republic. Such an appointment would be highly irregular." "These are irregular times, Master Kenobi. Surely the Jedi understand the need for flexibility in the face of existential threats. Unless," his tone grew speculative, "unless the Order wishes to claim Naruto for themselves, train him as a Jedi, perhaps."
Naruto is not force-sensitive in the traditional sense, Obi-Wan said carefully. His abilities stem from a different source entirely. "Precisely why he's so valuable," Palpatine agreed. "The Separatists have nothing that can counter him. Imagine a warrior who can be in dozens of places at once, who can match General Grievous in single combat, who inspires troops with his mere presence. He could end this war." "I don't want to be a weapon," Naruto said quietly. Palpatine's expression shifted to understanding sympathy. "Of course not, and I would never ask that of you. I'm simply suggesting that you could save countless lives, bring peace to a suffering galaxy. Isn't that what heroes do?" The words were right. The tone was perfect, but Naruto felt like he was drowning in poisoned honey, sweet on the surface, deadly underneath. I need to think about it, Naruto said finally. This isn't my war. Not really. I'm still trying to find a way home. Understandable, Palpatine nodded graciously. Take all the time you need, but while you're here, know that the Republic stands ready to support you however possible. In fact, I've had my researchers looking into dimensional travel. If anyone can help you return home, it's the brightest minds of Coruscant. That's generous, Naruto said, suspicion growing. Why help me so much? Because, my dear boy, I believe you were brought here for a reason, and I'd very much like to discover what that reason is. Wouldn't you? Before Naruto could respond, an aide rushed into the office, looking panicked. Chancellor, we have an emergency. Separatist forces are attacking Ryloth. They're overwhelming the planetary defenses. Palpatine's expression became grave. How many ships? Preliminary reports suggest an entire fleet, and Chancellor, Count Dooku is leading the assault, personally. The room fell silent. Anakin's hand moved to his lightsaber instinctively. Obi-Wan's expression became calculating. Ryloth is a strategically vital system, Palpatine explained to Naruto. If it falls, the entire sector falls with it, and the Twi'lek people, millions of innocents, will suffer under Separatist occupation. Naruto stood immediately. Then we go, right now. Naruto, Obi-Wan began. People in danger, innocent people, that's all I need to know. Dooku wants something, he can explain it after I kick his ass for attacking civilians. Palpatine smiled, and for just a moment, Naruto saw something terrible in that expression. Satisfaction, as if pieces were moving exactly as planned. Then it was gone, replaced with grandfatherly concern. Such courage, Palpatine said warmly. The Republic is fortunate to have you, Naruto, even if only temporarily. As they left the office to prepare for deployment, Naruto grabbed Anakin's arm. Hey, can I ask you something about the Chancellor? Sure, Anakin replied, though his tone was defensive. Palpatine's a good man. He's been a mentor to me since I was a Padawan. That's the thing, Naruto said carefully. You trust him? With my life, Anakin said firmly. He's one of the few people in the Senate who actually cares about the Jedi and the war effort. Why? I want to explain what Kurama sensed, the wrongness he felt, but something held him back. If Anakin trusted the Chancellor that much, accusing Palpatine of being dangerous might backfire spectacularly. Just be careful around him, Naruto said finally. Something feels off. Can't explain it. Just trust me. Anakin's expression softened. I know you're trying to look out for me. I appreciate that. But Naruto, you've only been here a short time. Palpatine has been fighting for the Republic for years. Give him a chance. Naruto nodded, dropping the subject for now. But as they headed to the landing platforms, Kurama's warning echoed in his mind. Kit, that human in the Chancellor's office, he's playing a game so complex we can't even see the board yet. Whatever happens on Ryloth, it's part of his plan. Be ready for anything. The battle for Ryloth was already underway when the Republic fleet arrived. Separatist blockade ships formed an iron ring around the planet, their turbo lasers creating a deadly web of fire that no ship could penetrate. On the surface, droid armies marched through the capital city, rounding up Twi'lek civilians, while resistance fighters waged desperate guerrilla warfare.
Aboard the Republic command ship, Jedi Master Mace Windu coordinated the assault with General Syndulla of the Twi'lek Resistance. The holographic tactical display showed the grim reality. They were outnumbered and outgunned. We need to break that blockade, Mace stated flatly. But every ship we send gets torn apart before reaching effective weapons range. What about planetary shields? Naruto asked, studying the display with his accumulated tactical knowledge from hundreds of shadow clone combat analyses.
"Damaged in the initial assault," Syndulla replied, her accent thick with stress. "They're targeting civilian infrastructure. My people are dying while we debate strategy." "Then we don't debate," Naruto said firmly. He turned to Mace. "Get me close to the flagship. I'll handle the rest." "Handle it how, exactly?" Mace's skepticism was evident. "By doing what I do best, improvising." Naruto created a single shadow clone. "This clone stays here, maintaining constant communication. When I need extraction, he'll let you know. Until then, trust me." "Absolutely not," Mace said flatly. "You're not trained for space combat. You'd be killed instantly." "Master Windu," Anakin interjected, "I've seen what Naruto can do. If he says he has a plan, we should at least hear it." Naruto grinned. "It's simple. You get me to the flagship's hull, I create 100 clones, we all use chakra to stick to the surface and find the reactor. Then, he made an explosion gesture with his hands. Big Rasengan! Ship goes boom! Blockade breaks, we land and help the Twi'leks." The simplicity of it was almost insulting to military doctrine, but looking at the tactical situation, Mace couldn't deny its potential effectiveness. Sometimes, the most outrageous plans worked precisely because no one expected them. "One chance," Mace decided. "If you fail, we retreat and try a conventional assault. Understood?" "I won't fail. That's my ninja way." 20 minutes later, Naruto sat in the back of a stealth shuttle piloted by Anakin, wearing a basic EVA suit modified to fit him. The suit felt claustrophobic, but Kurama's chakra kept him calm. "You know this is insane, right?" Anakin called back from the cockpit as he weaved through debris and laser fire. "Best plans usually are," Naruto shouted back. "Just get me close." The shuttle's stealth systems flickered as they approached the massive Providence-class flagship. Anakin's piloting was masterful. He dodged fire, used debris for cover, and exploited blind spots in the Separatist scanning grid. When they were 50 meters of the ship's hull, Naruto didn't wait for a full stop. He jumped. In the zero-gravity environment, Naruto tumbled through space, his heart pounding. For a terrifying moment, he thought he'd miscalculated, that he'd just float forever in the void. Then his chakra-enhanced instincts kicked in. He focused chakra to his hands and feet, and when he hit the flagship's hull, he stuck like a ninja walking up a tree. "Ha!" Naruto half-breathlessly said through his helmet comm. "I still got it!" He created 50 shadow clones, each immediately sticking to the hull and spreading out to search for the reactor's location. Through their shared senses, Naruto felt one clone find it, a massive structure at the ship's core, shielded and protected, but accessible through a maintenance hatch. The clones converged. Working together, they pried open the hatch. Thankfully, the ship's architects hadn't anticipated external boarding parties that could survive in vacuum. Naruto and 10 clones entered the ship's internal corridors, moving through sections depressurized from hull breaches. Inside, they encountered battle droids, but in the confined spaces and zero-gravity environment, Naruto's taijutsu proved devastatingly effective. He bounced off walls, used chakra to anchor himself strategically, and his clones overwhelmed the mechanical defenders through sheer numbers and unpredictability. They reached the reactor chamber, a massive sphere of contained plasma that powered the entire ship. Security was heavy here. Super battle droids, destroyer droids, and a small army of standard infantry units. "Okay," Naruto muttered as he formed hand seals as his clones positioned themselves. "Time for the big one. Kurama, lend me some power." "You got it, Ket. Let's show this galaxy what real power looks like." Orange-red chakra exploded around Naruto, forming the signature tailed beast cloak. His appearance shifted, fox-like features, whisker marks darkening, and 9 chakra tails extending from his back. In the confined spaces, the sheer pressure of his power made reality itself seem to warp.
The droids opened fire. The chakra cloak absorbed or deflected every shot. Naruto and his clones moved through the droid army like a force of nature, each movement enhanced by Kurama's power. When they reached the reactor itself, Naruto began forming his ultimate technique. Multi-Shadow Clone Big Ball Rasengan. 10 clones appeared, each creating a massive Rasengan that dwarfed the human-sized versions Naruto had used before. They combined them, a technique that should have been impossible, but with Kurama's chakra synchronizing the rotations, the 10 spheres merged into one massive car-sized ball of spiraling destruction. Naruto hurled it at the reactor's containment field. The effect was apocalyptic. The Rasengan punched through shielding designed to withstand turbo-laser bombardment, its rotational force unraveling the molecular bonds of the containment field. When it struck the reactor core itself, the feedback was immediate and catastrophic. "Everyone out, now!" Naruto screamed to his clones. They ran. Behind them, the reactor began catastrophically failing, its plasma containment breaching in multiple locations. Alarms blared throughout the ship. Naruto and his clones raced back through the corridors as sections began explosively decompressing. They reached the hull breach just as the reactor went critical. Naruto's clones dispelled, and the original launched himself into space with all the force he could muster. Behind him, the flagship's midsection erupted in a brilliant explosion that could be seen from Ryloth's surface. Anakin's shuttle swooped in, its bay doors open. "Grab on!" Naruto's chakra-enhanced reflexes let him adjust his trajectory mid-void. He caught the shuttle's extended boarding ramp, and Anakin immediately accelerated away as debris from the destroyed flagship filled the surrounding space. The Separatist blockade, seeing their command ship destroyed by an impossibility, broke formation in confusion. Republic ships surged through the gap, pouring into Ryloth's orbit and beginning the planetary assault. Back aboard the command ship, Naruto collapsed on the deck, exhausted but triumphant. Mace Windu stood over him, his expression unreadable. "That," Mace said slowly, "was the single most reckless, dangerous, and successful combat operation I've ever witnessed." "Does that mean you are impressed?" Naruto grinned tiredly. "It means," Mace replied with the ghost of a smile, "that I'm beginning to understand why the Council is concerned about you. You don't just break the rules, you rewrite them entirely." The ground assault was brutal but short. With orbital support and Naruto's clones assisting in multiple locations simultaneously, the Separatist droid army found itself overwhelmed. By nightfall, the capital was liberated, though at significant cost. In a secured command post, Naruto sat with Anakin and Obi-Wan reviewing casualty reports. Too many Twi'leks had died. Too many resistance fighters. The victory felt hollow. "You can't save everyone," Obi-Wan said gently, sensing Naruto's mood. "We did what we could." "Wasn't enough," Naruto replied quietly. "If I'd been faster, stronger." "You destroyed a capital ship single-handedly. You probably saved thousands of lives. That has to count for something." Before Naruto could respond, a holographic message appeared, Count Dooku's elegant features forming in miniature. "Impressive, young Naruto," Dooku said, his tone approving, despite being on opposite sides. "I continue to exceed expectations. I wanted to inform you, the attack on Ryloth was partly meant to test you, to see how you'd respond under pressure. You passed brilliantly." "Test me?" Naruto's voice went cold. "People died because you wanted to test me?" "People die every day in war," Dooku replied philosophically. "At least their deaths served a purpose. They revealed your true capabilities, and more importantly, they revealed your limitations. You're powerful, yes, but you can't be everywhere at once. You can't save everyone. That must be frustrating." "What do you want?" Naruto demanded. "I want to offer you something the Jedi will never, the truth about this war.
about who really controls both sides, about why you're really here. Dooku's expression was sincere in a way that made Naruto deeply uncomfortable. Meet me, alone, on the neutral moon of Rugosa. I'll show you evidence that will change everything you believe about this conflict. It's a trap, Obi-Wan said flatly. Perhaps. Or perhaps it's the only chance Naruto has to understand the real game being played. The choice, as always, is his. The hologram cut out. The three of them sat in silence. You can't seriously be considering this, Anakin said finally. I don't know, Naruto admitted. What if he's telling the truth? What if there's something about this war the Jedi don't know? The Jedi have been fighting the Sith for millennia. We know their tactics: deception, manipulation, half-truths designed to create doubt. That's what Dooku is doing. Maybe, Naruto agreed. But what if he's not? What if both sides are being played? He stood, pacing. In my world, I fought in a war that turned out to be manipulation by someone we trusted, someone in power. What if that's happening here too? The words hung heavy in the air. Neither Jedi wanted to acknowledge the possibility, but neither could entirely dismiss it either. If you go, Anakin said slowly, we're coming with you. He said alone. And I said we're coming. Anakin replied with finality. You're not facing a Sith Lord without backup. End of discussion. Naruto wanted to argue, but found himself smiling instead. You're kind of overprotective, you know that. You're kind of reckless, Anakin shot back. We balance each other out. Outside, Ryloth's twin moons rose over the scarred capital. The war continued. The manipulation continued. And somewhere in Coruscant's darkest offices, Palpatine smiled as he sensed the seeds of doubt taking root. Everything was proceeding exactly as he had foreseen.
The moon of Rugosa was an unremarkable world. Barren coral formations jutting from shallow seas, minimal atmosphere, and no strategic value whatsoever, which made it perfect for clandestine meetings between enemies. Naruto stood on a rocky outcropping overlooking crystalline waters, Anakin and Obi-Wan flanking him despite his protests. In the distance, a Separatist shuttle descended with the elegance characteristic of Count Dooku's personal craft. Last chance to reconsider, Obi-Wan said quietly, his hand resting on his lightsaber hilt. Whatever Dooku wants to show you, it's part of a larger manipulation. Probably, Naruto agreed, but I gotta see it anyway. Need to understand what's really happening here. Careful, Kit, Kurama rumbled. That dark presence from Coruscant, the Chancellor, his stink is all over this. Whatever Dooku reveals, it's part of a game between predators. The shuttle landed, and Count Dooku emerged alone, his curved lightsaber visible but deactivated at his belt. He approached with measured steps, his aristocratic bearing making this desolate moon seem like a formal reception hall. Naruto and uninvited guests, I see. I specifically requested this meeting be private. They're my friends, Naruto stated firmly. They stay. Ah, friendship. How quaint. Dooku's smile was enigmatic. Very well. Though what I'm about to reveal may test those friendships considerably. He activated a holographic projector, and images began to materialize in the air between them. The first showed banking records, complex financial trails leading from corporations to political figures. The Republic's war funding doesn't come from taxation alone. It's financed by the banking clan, the techno-union, and the Commerce Guild. These same organizations, coincidentally, also fund the Separatist movement. That's impossible, Anakin protested. Why would they fund both sides? Because war is profitable, young Skywalker. Weapons, ships, supplies, both sides purchase them from the same manufacturers. The longer the war continues, the wealthier these corporations become. Dooku's finger traced the financial connections. Your clone army, commissioned 10 years ago by a Jedi Master who conveniently died before explaining why? Paid for with Republic credits that ultimately trace back to these same corporate interests? Naruto felt sick. You're saying the war is fake? Manufactured? Not fake. Very real people die every day, but orchestrated absolutely by someone playing both sides, someone who benefits from the Republic's emergency powers expanding, from the Jedi being spread too thin, from the galaxy descending into chaos. Dooku's expression grew grave. You're talking about the Chancellor, Obi-Wan said coldly. These are serious accusations.
Are they accusations if I can prove them? Dooku brought up more holograms, communication intercepts showing coded messages between Palpatine and Separatist leaders. Your Chancellor isn't just a politician. He's a Sith Lord, Darth Sidious, my master, or rather, he was. The silence was deafening. Anakin looked like he'd been struck. That's a lie. Palpatine is a good man. He's dedicated his life to the Republic. Has he? Dooku's voice was almost gentle. Or has he dedicated his life to accumulating power? Every crisis extends his emergency powers. Every battle justifies more control. The Jedi are his personal army now, dancing to his tune without realizing they're being played. And you're different? Naruto challenged. You work for him, lead his Separatist forces. If he's so evil, why are you still fighting for him? An excellent question, Dooku acknowledged. The truth is, I thought I could control him, use his plans for my own ends, genuine reform, breaking the Republic's corruption. But I was wrong. He's using me just as he uses everyone, which is why I'm telling you this now. Why now? Obi-Wan demanded. What's changed? You changed things. Dooku looked directly at Naruto. Someone with power that doesn't depend on the Force, that Sidious can't manipulate or control. You terrify him, even if he hides it well. And that gives me an opportunity. Naruto's mind raced. Everything Kurama had sensed about Palpatine suddenly made horrible sense. The wrongness, the hidden malice, the feeling of being studied like a specimen. But accepting it meant that evil controlled the Republic from within. You're asking us to betray everything we stand for, Anakin said, his voice strained. To turn against the Republic based on your word alone? Not my word, your own investigation. Dooku produced another data crystal. This contains encrypted financial records, communication logs, and Sith artifacts traced to Palpatine's private collection. I cannot access them. They're protected by Jedi encryption. But you can. Verify it yourselves, then decide. Obi-Wan stared at the crystal like it was a venomous creature. Taking it meant admitting Dooku might be right, but ignoring it meant potentially enabling the very evil the Jedi were sworn to fight. Why help us? Naruto asked. What's in it for you? Survival, Dooku bluntly replied. And I want Sidious stopped before he achieves his ultimate goal. Which is? Obi-Wan pressed. The complete destruction of the Jedi Order and the transformation of the Republic into a Sith Empire. Dooku's expression was absolutely serious. He's been planning this for decades. The war is just the final stage. When the moment is right, he'll activate a protocol hidden in your clone army, a command that will turn them against the Jedi. Execute Order 66. Anakin laughed, but it was hollow. You're insane. The clones are loyal. They'd never. They have no choice, Dooku interrupted. Behavioral modification chips implanted at creation. They don't even know they're there. One command and the most loyal soldiers in the galaxy become the perfect assassins. The horror of it settled over them like a shroud. Naruto thought of Commander Cody, of the clone troopers who'd fought beside him at Khalida Shoals, calling him the clone shinobi with genuine affection. The thought of them being used as weapons against the Jedi, against their friends, made his blood boil.
If this is true, Obi-Wan said carefully, why hasn't Sidious executed this order already? Timing, Dooku explained. The Jedi must be weakened first, scattered across the galaxy. The Republic must be desperate enough to accept authoritarian control, and potential threats, like Naruto, must either be eliminated or controlled. Everything must be perfect before he springs his trap. "And you're telling us this out of the goodness of your heart?" Naruto asked sarcastically. "I'm telling you because I'm a pragmatist. Sidious wins if nothing changes. I die, the Jedi die, and the galaxy falls into darkness deeper than anything the Sith have achieved in millennia." Dooku placed the data crystal on the ground between them. "This is my gambit. Investigate, verify, then decide whether I'm lying or whether you've been serving evil all along." Before anyone could respond, Dooku's comlink chirped. His expression shifted to alarm. "Interesting. It seems we've been tracked. Republic forces are approaching. How unfortunate." "What?" Anakin spun, reaching out with the Force. "I don't sense." The coral formations around them exploded. Republic gunships descended from cloud cover, their cannons trained on the meeting site. A voice boomed over loudspeakers, cold, authoritative, and unmistakably Master Windu's. "Master Skywalker, Master Kenobi, step away from the Separatist leader and the foreign operative, now." "Foreign operative?" Naruto repeated, stung. "I've been fighting for you." "And now you're meeting secretly with Count Dooku?" Mace's voice was disappointed rather than angry, which somehow hurt worse. "This is a misunderstanding," Obi-Wan protested. "We were conducting an investigation based on intelligence." "Intelligence from a Sith Lord." Mace's skepticism was palpable. "I expected better judgment from you, Obi-Wan." Naruto felt Kurama stirring, the fox's anger matching his own. "Kit, we're being set up. That Chancellor orchestrated this perfectly. We investigate his connection to Dooku, and suddenly the Jedi catch us in the act. It discredits both Dooku's testimony and your trustworthiness." "We're not going down like this," Naruto said quietly, making a decision. "Dooku? That data crystal, is it real?" "Every bite," Dooku confirmed. "Then we take it. Anakin, Obi-Wan, trust me." Both Jedi looked at each other, then at the advancing clone troopers, then back at Naruto. Finally, Anakin nodded. "I trust you." "That's all I need." Naruto formed his signature hand seal. "Multi-shadow clone jutsu!" The battlefield exploded with 500 Narutos. Clone troopers' targeting computers went haywire, unable to distinguish which was real. Some Narutos grabbed the data crystal. Others created a smokescreen using transformation jutsu to replicate smoke bombs. And still others simply charged the clone lines in a mass of orange and blonde. "All units, engage!" Mace commanded, but his voice held uncertainty. "How did you fight an enemy that was everywhere and nowhere simultaneously?" In the chaos, the real Naruto, Anakin, and Obi-Wan sprinted toward their hidden shuttle. Count Dooku moved in the opposite direction, toward his own craft, his lightsaber deflecting blaster fire with elegant precision. "This changes nothing," Dooku called over the din. "Investigate, learn the truth, then decide whose side you're really on." His shuttle lifted off, dodging turbo-laser fire from the Republic cruiser in orbit. Naruto's shuttle, piloted by one of his clones, swooped down to extract them. They barely made it aboard before the coral formation they'd been standing on disappeared under concentrated fire. "Go, go, go!" Naruto shouted to his clone pilot. The shuttle's engines screamed as they accelerated, weaving through fire from their own supposed allies. Anakin grabbed the controls, his piloting skills the only reason they weren't shot down immediately. "Where are we going?" Obi-Wan demanded, gripping a safety rail as Anakin executed a barrel roll that would have made most pilots black out. "Anywhere but here," Anakin replied. "We need time to figure this out, and we won't get that if we return to Coruscant. They'll label us deserters, traitors even."
Only if Dooku was lying, Naruto countered, clutching the data crystal. If he's telling the truth, then we're not traitors. We're the only ones who know what's really happening. The shuttle broke atmosphere, and Anakin immediately jumped to hyperspace without bothering to calculate proper coordinates. A dangerous gamble, but their only option. The stars stretched into lines, and suddenly they were somewhere else, somewhere random in the vast galaxy. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Obi-Wan sank into a seat, looking older than Naruto had ever seen him. "We just fled from our own forces, defied a direct order from a council member, and aligned ourselves, however temporarily, with a Sith Lord." His voice was hollow. "Do you understand what we've done?" "We investigated," Anakin said firmly. "That's all. We investigated a legitimate threat based on credible intelligence." "Intelligence from Count Dooku," Obi-Wan repeated, "a known manipulator and enemy of the Republic." "Intelligence that matches what Naruto sensed about Palpatine, or are we ignoring that?" Both Jedi looked at Naruto, who shifted uncomfortably under their scrutiny. "Kurama sensed something wrong about the Chancellor from the first moment we met him. Darkness hidden under fake kindness. I didn't want to say anything because Anakin trusted him, but yeah, something's definitely off about that guy." Obi-Wan pulled out the data crystal, staring at it. "If we access this, we can't unsee what's inside. If it proves Palpatine is corrupt, or worse, proves he's Darth Sidious, we'll be hunted by both the Republic and the Separatists. We'll have nowhere to go." "And if we don't look," Anakin said quietly, "we might be enabling the very evil we swore to fight. Master, you taught me that a Jedi must always seek truth, no matter how uncomfortable." "I'm beginning to regret that lesson," Obi-Wan muttered, but he plugged the crystal into the shuttle's computer. "All right, let's see what Count Dooku wants us to believe." The data unfolded before them. Financial records, tracing war funding through labyrinthine corporate structures, all leading back to shell companies controlled by Palpatine. Communication logs showing coded messages between the Chancellor and Separatist leadership, discussing troop movements before they occurred. Holo recordings of Palpatine in private chambers, his face twisted with hatred as he practiced Sith techniques. And most damning, schematics for the clone army's behavioral modification chips, with a file clearly labeled Order 66, Contingency Protocol for Jedi Elimination. Anakin's face went white. No, this has to be fabricated. Palpatine wouldn't." "Look at the encryption," Obi-Wan said numbly, running analyses. "It's authentic Jedi coding. These records were stolen from our own archives. And the timestamps, some of these conversations happened while we were meeting with the Chancellor, discussing strategy. He knew our plans before we executed them because he was feeding them to Dooku. So, the war is real, but both sides answer to the same person. He's been playing you all along, getting you to fight yourselves.
The question is why, Obi-Wan said, his strategic mind working despite the emotional devastation. What does Sidious gain from this elaborate deception? Power, Anakin said bitterly. Absolute power. The Republic grants him emergency authority during the war. The longer it continues, the more control he accumulates. And when he finally ends it, on his terms, he'll be a hero, the savior of the Republic, while the Jedi are conveniently eliminated via their own clone army, Obi-Wan finished. It's brilliant, monstrous, but brilliant. Naruto stood, pacing in the confined space. Okay, so we know the truth. What do we do about it? We can't go back to Coruscant. We'd be arrested immediately, maybe executed for treason. We can't contact the Council either, Obi-Wan added. Sidious will be monitoring all Jedi communications. The moment we reveal what we know, he'll move against us. So we're alone, Naruto summarized. 3 people against the most powerful person in the galaxy, with armies on both sides hunting us. He grinned suddenly. Good. I work better as an underdog anyway. This isn't a joke, Naruto, Obi-Wan said sharply. I know it's not, Naruto replied, his expression turning serious. But giving up isn't an option either. We know the truth now. We know innocent people, including all those clone troopers, are being used as pawns in someone's sick game. So we stop him. How? Anakin demanded. We can't fight the entire Republic military. We can't expose Sidious without proof. He'll just claim is forged. We can't. We find allies, people who care more about truth than politics, and we build a resistance, a real one. Not Republic, not Separatist, just people who want to stop this war and save the galaxy from a Sith Lord. Obi-Wan and Anakin stared at him. Then slowly, Obi-Wan smiled, a tired, genuine smile. You know, when you first arrived, I thought you were just a reckless, overpowered wild card. I'm beginning to realize you're actually something much more dangerous. A reckless, overpowered wild card with good ideas. Is that a compliment? Naruto asked. It's the best you're getting from me right now. Obi-Wan replied. He stood, squaring his shoulders. All right, if we're doing this, we need a plan, we need allies, and we need to stay ahead of Sidious's schemes long enough to figure out how to stop him. I know where to start, Anakin said slowly. Padme, Senator Amidala. She's been investigating Republic corruption for years. If anyone can help us navigate the political side of this, it's her. Can we trust her? Naruto asked. Anakin's expression was complex. Love, fear, and determination all mixed together. With my life, with everything. I see, Obi-Wan sighed. I've known about your relationship for years, Anakin. I'm not blind. But contacting her puts her at risk too. She'd want to know, Anakin insisted. She'd want to help. And we need someone in the Senate who can watch Palpatine, track his movements, maybe even discover more of his plans.
Then we go to Naboo, Obi-Wan decided. Padme's homeworld, where she has resources and protection. From there, we plan our next move. As they set course for Naboo, Naruto moved to the viewport, staring out at hyperspace's swirling colors. Kurama stirred in his mindscape. This wasn't how you expected your interdimensional adventure to go, was it, Kit? Not even close, Naruto admitted mentally. I thought I'd figure out how to get home, maybe help some people along the way. Instead, I'm caught in the middle of a galactic conspiracy orchestrated by a Sith Lord disguised as a politician. It's like if Madara had become Hokage. Worse, Kurama corrected.
At least Madara was honest about wanting to control everything. This Sidious, he's patient, subtle. He's been manipulating events for decades without anyone noticing. That kind of long-term planning is terrifying. "So we stop him," Naruto said simply. "Find a way to expose him, break his control, and save all those clone troopers from being used as weapons. Then maybe figure out how to get home." "You're taking this remarkably well, considering you just became an enemy of the state." "Yeah, well," Naruto grinned internally, "wouldn't be the first time. Remember when the entire shinobi world wanted me dead because of you? We survived that. We'll survive this." "Your optimism is either inspiring or insane. I can never tell which." "Why not both?" Behind him, Anakin and Obi-Wan were deep in discussion, planning their approach to Padme and debating the moral implications of what they'd learned. Naruto listened with half an ear, but his mind was already racing ahead. Somewhere on Coruscant, Palpatine knew his trap had failed, knew that Naruto, Anakin, and Obi-Wan had escaped with Dooku's information. The Sith Lord would be adjusting his plans, preparing contingencies, moving pieces on his galactic chessboard. But Palpatine made one critical miscalculation. He assumed everyone in the galaxy played by the same rules: Force users, politicians, soldiers. He'd never encountered someone like Naruto Uzumaki, someone who didn't care about the Force, about political maneuvering, about ancient Sith Jedi conflicts, someone who just wanted to protect people and never gave up, no matter what. "Hey," Naruto called back to the Jedi, "can someone teach me how to properly use a lightsaber? I mean, really use one, not just the basics I picked up from watching Anakin?" Anakin raised an eyebrow. "Planning to fight Sidious yourself?" "If I have to," Naruto replied seriously, "but mostly I figure if we're starting a resistance against the most powerful person in the galaxy, I should probably learn how to use all available weapons. Plus, lightsabers are really cool." Despite everything, the betrayal, the danger, the weight of knowledge they now carried, both Jedi laughed. It was brief and slightly hysterical, but genuine. "You know what, Naruto?" Obi-Wan said, still smiling. "I think you might be exactly what this galaxy needs right now. Someone too stubborn to know when they're beaten, too optimistic to succumb to despair, and too powerful for even a Sith Lord to ignore." "Damn right," Naruto agreed, "because this is my promise. We're going to stop Sidious, we're going to save the clone troopers, we're going to end this war the right way, and nobody, not the Sith, not the Separatists, not anyone, is going to make me break that promise." "That's the spirit," Anakin said, his own determination rekindling. "We might be outlaws now, but we're outlaws with truth on our side. That has to count for something." The shuttle dropped out of hyperspace near Naboo, a beautiful blue-green world of lakes, swamps, and cities that seemed to grow from nature rather than dominate it. As they descended toward the surface, none of them knew this decision would set in motion events that would reshape the galaxy.
But they knew one thing with absolute certainty. The Clone Wars had just become infinitely more complicated. And somewhere between Republic and Separatist, between Jedi and Sith, a new force was emerging. A shinobi who refused to choose sides, a chosen one who questioned his destiny, and a negotiator who was done negotiating. Together, they would either save the galaxy or burn with it. And honestly, the odds looked about even.
Naboo's capital of Theed was a city of waterfalls and elegant architecture, where buildings seemed to flow organically from the landscape. Senator Padme Amidala's private residence sat nestled among gardens overlooking Sulu River, deliberately understated compared to the opulent royal palace where she'd once served as queen. It was here that 3 fugitives arrived in a stolen shuttle, carrying information that would shake the galaxy's foundations.
Padme met them at the landing platform, her expression shifting from joy at seeing Anakin to alarm as she registered their disheveled appearance and furtive arrival. "What happened? I received word that you'd been declared rogue operatives by the Jedi Council, that you attacked Republic forces on Rugosa." "We didn't attack anyone," Anakin said, embracing her despite Obi-Wan's disapproving cough. "But we discovered something terrible, and we need your help." Inside her study, surrounded by security that Padme trusted with her life, they laid out everything: Dooku's revelations, the data crystal's contents, the evidence of Palpatine's dual identity as Darth Sidious, and the impending Order 66 that would genocide the Jedi Order. Padme listened in growing horror, her political composure cracking as the implications sank in. "Palpatine. I've worked with him for years, trusted him. He's been advising me since I was 14 years old." Her voice was hollow. "How could I not see it?" "Because he's had decades to perfect his disguise," Obi-Wan said gently. "He's fooled the entire Jedi Council, Force users specifically trained to detect deception. You can't blame yourself for failing to see what he didn't want seen." "If this is true," Padme said slowly, her strategic mind engaging, "then we have a bigger problem than just exposing him. The Republic's institutions have been corrupted at the highest level. The Senate has granted him extraordinary emergency powers. The military answers to him directly. Even if we prove he's Sidious, he's positioned himself where removing him could destroy the Republic itself." "So what do we do?" Naruto asked, frustrated. "Just let him win?" "No," Padme's expression hardened with determination. "We build a case so ironclad that even his supporters can't deny it. We gather allies in the Senate, people who care more about the Republic than political convenience, and we prepare for the inevitable moment when he moves against us." "That could take months, years even. How many people die while we build your case?" Anakin protested. "How many people die if we move prematurely and fail?" Padme countered. "Anakin, I know patience isn't your strength, but this situation requires political precision. One wrong move, and Sidious will paint us as traitors, consolidate power further, and execute his plans ahead of schedule." "She's right," Obi-Wan admitted reluctantly. "Much as I hate to admit it, we can't simply march into the Senate and declare the Supreme Chancellor is a Sith Lord without absolute proof and significant backing."
Naruto had been quiet, listening to the debate while his shadow clones processed information from the data crystal. Now he spoke up, his voice thoughtful. "What if we don't try to expose him at all?" Everyone turned to look at him. "Explain," Obi-Wan prompted. "Think about it," Naruto said, standing to pace as his thoughts crystallized. "Sidious's plan works because he controls both sides of the war. He makes the Republic desperate, then offers himself as the solution. The more we fight against him publicly, the more he can paint us as the problem and himself as the answer." "So we don't fight publicly," Anakin caught on. "We operate in the shadows, disrupt his plans without revealing ourselves." "Exactly," Naruto nodded enthusiastically. "We stop being Jedi and Republic soldiers playing by his rules. We become something else, something he can't predict or control." "Insurgents," Padme said quietly. "Guerrilla operatives working outside official channels." "I prefer freedom fighters," Naruto grinned. "But yeah, same idea. We hit his operations, save the people caught in the middle, and slowly dismantle his plans piece by piece, make him react to us instead of us reacting to him." Obi-Wan stroked his beard thoughtfully. "It's not the Jedi way. We're peacekeepers, not insurgents." "The Jedi way is getting you killed," Naruto replied bluntly. "Sidious is counting on you following your rules, your honor, your traditions. That's how he stayed hidden for so long. You're predictable, so we become unpredictable." "There's a certain wisdom to that," Padme acknowledged. "If we operate outside official structures, Sidious can't use those structures against us. No Republic military to turn traitor, no Senate procedures to manipulate.
just small, targeted operations that undermine his grand design. Anakin looked at Obi-Wan. "Master?" Obi-Wan was silent for a long moment, clearly wrestling with decades of Jedi training and philosophy. Finally, he sighed. "I never thought I'd be taking strategic advice from a dimensional refugee, but Naruto's right. We can't fight Sidious on his terms. We need to create new terms entirely." "So we're really doing this?" Naruto asked, excitement building. "Starting a secret resistance to save the galaxy?" "When you put it like that, it sounds almost heroic rather than suicidally reckless. But yes, we're doing this." "Then we need allies," Padme said, already planning. "People we trust absolutely. People with resources, skills, and most importantly, people Sidious doesn't have compromised." "I know where to start," Anakin said. "Ahsoka, my former Padawan. She left the Jedi Order after they betrayed her trust. She'll help." "Captain Rex and some of the clone commanders. If we can remove their control chips before Order 66 is activated, they'd be powerful allies who know the Republic military inside and out." "The Twi'lek resistance on Ryloth," Naruto suggested, remembering the fighters he'd helped save. "They're already used to fighting overwhelming odds." "And I can reach out quietly to certain senators," Padme said. "Bail Organa of Alderaan, Mon Mothma of Chandrila, people who've expressed concern about Palpatine's expanding authority." Over the next several hours, they planned. Padme used her secure communication channels to send carefully coded messages. Obi-Wan meditated, reaching out through the Force to trusted Jedi who might sense the truth he couldn't speak openly. Anakin worked on technical aspects, how to remove control chips from clone troopers, how to forge identities that would keep them off Sidious's radar, how to access Republic resources without triggering alerts. And Naruto created hundreds of shadow clones, sending them across Naboo to train, to learn local skills, to prepare for the coming conflict. When they dispelled, he'd have the collective knowledge of an army's worth of experiences. It was during one of these training sessions that Obi-Wan found Naruto practicing lightsaber forms with a training blade, his movements still unpolished but showing remarkable improvement.
"You're a fast learner," Obi-Wan observed. "Most Jedi train for years before reaching your current level." "Shadow clones," Naruto explained, not stopping his practice. "I got dozens of them drilling different forms right now. When they dispel, I'll know everything they learned. It's like living a month of training in a single day." "And the mental strain?" Obi-Wan asked. "Absorbing that much experience simultaneously?" "Kurama helps filter it," Naruto admitted. "And yeah, it gives me headaches sometimes, but worth it if it means I can protect people better." Obi-Wan was quiet for a moment, watching Naruto move through a Suresu defensive sequence. "You know, when you first arrived, I thought you were dangerous. And you are, just not in the way I expected." "Because I break your rules?" Naruto asked without hostility. "Because you make us question why we have rules in the first place," Obi-Wan corrected. "The Jedi Order has existed for thousands of years. We have traditions, philosophies, codes of conduct. They provide structure, purpose. But somewhere along the way, we confused tradition with wisdom. We became so focused on maintaining the order that we forgot why the order exists." "To help people," Naruto said simply. "Exactly, to help people. But we've become warriors, generals, politicians. We've lost our way." Obi-Wan sat on a training mat, gesturing for Naruto to join him. "You remind us what it means to truly serve. Not duty-bound by code, but genuine compassion. You fight for people not because the council ordered it, but because it's right." "That's just being a decent person," Naruto said, confused by the praise. "Perhaps, but decent people are rarer than you'd think in positions of power. The galaxy has been at war for years, Naruto. People are tired, scared, numb to suffering. They've accepted that millions must die for the greater good. You haven't accepted that. You still fight like every life matters."
"Because every life does matter," Naruto replied firmly. Back home, I was hated for years because of Kurama. People saw me as a monster, a weapon, a thing instead of a person. I know what it's like to be treated as expendable. So when I see clone troopers, people literally created to be expendable, it makes me furious. Nobody deserves that. And that's why I believe we can actually succeed, Obi-Wan said. Not because we're the strongest or the smartest, but because we have you. Someone who refuses to accept that evil is inevitable, that people are expendable, that the galaxy can't be better. Their conversation was interrupted by Anakin's urgent approach. We have a problem. One of Padme's contacts just sent a priority message. Ahsoka was spotted on Coruscant. Sidious has sent Inquisitors after her. Naruto was on his feet instantly. Then we go get her, right now. It's a trap, Obi-Wan said immediately. Sidious knows we'd tried to recruit Ahsoka. He's using her as bait. Don't care if it's a trap, Naruto replied, already heading toward their shuttle. She's Anakin's student, which makes her our friend. We don't abandon friends just because it's dangerous. Anakin smiled grimly. See, Master? This is why I like him. I'm going to regret this, Obi-Wan muttered, following them. Padme, maintain communication protocols. If we don't return, you'll return, Padme said firmly, kissing Anakin, because you have to. The galaxy needs you. I need you. Always, Anakin promised. The shuttle launched under cover of darkness, its transponder forged to show a civilian freighter's signature. As they traveled toward Coruscant, the heart of enemy territory, Naruto felt Kurama's presence surge. Kit, I need to warn you. That dark presence, Sidious, is stronger than anything we faced in our world. Stronger than Madara. Stronger than Kaguya. His power is ancient, primordial. If we face him directly, we might not survive. Then we don't face him directly. We hit and run, save Ahsoka, and disappear before he can respond. In and out, ninja style. You make it sound simple. It probably won't be, but when has that ever stopped us? Fair point. Coruscant's night side was a galaxy of artificial lights, billions of beings living in stacked cities that reached kilometers into the atmosphere. Somewhere in that vast urban maze, Ahsoka Tano was being hunted, and somewhere in the Senate building, Darth Sidious watched and waited. The Inquisitors cornered Ahsoka in the industrial district, their red lightsabers casting bloody light across abandoned warehouses. There were 3 of them, the second sister, the 5th brother, and the 7th sister. All former Jedi broken and twisted by the dark side. Ahsoka's twin white lightsabers blazed as she held them off, her Togrita mantrals giving her a spatial awareness that made her a nightmare to fight. But she was outnumbered, exhausted, and running out of room to maneuver. Just surrender, Ahsoka, the second sister hissed. Lord Sidious wants you alive. Make this easier on yourself. When have I ever made things easy? Ahsoka shot back, using Itaru's acrobatic style to vault over the 5th brother's heavy strikes. Then the wall exploded. 200 Narutos poured into the warehouse, their appearance so sudden and overwhelming that even the Inquisitors froze in shock. The real Naruto landed beside Ahsoka, grinning his fox-like grin. Hey, you must be Ahsoka. I'm Naruto. We're here to rescue you. You okay? Ahsoka stared at the army of identical orange-clad warriors. What? Long story. Short version, your old master is worried about you. Palpatine is secretly a Sith Lord controlling both sides of the war, and we're starting a resistance. You in? That's the short version? Ahsoka dodged a strike from the 7th sister. Can we maybe discuss this after we survive?
Good plan. Naruto's clones engaged the Inquisitors, using their overwhelming numbers and unpredictable tactics to offset the dark side users' superior skill. It wasn't pretty. Clones dispelled left and right, but it worked. Anakin and Obi-Wan arrived through the hole Naruto had created, their lightsabers joining the fray. Anakin's aggressive style perfectly complemented Ahsoka's acrobatics, and Obi-Wan's defensive mastery protected their flanks. "Master," Ahsoka's voice carried, surprise and joy. "You came for me?" "Always, Snips," Anakin replied, using his old nickname for her. "Sorry it took so long." The Inquisitors realized they were outmatched. The second sister triggered a communicator. "We need backup, now! They're—" A Rasengan from one of Naruto's clones shattered her communicator before the message completed. The impact sent her sprawling, and the other Inquisitors saw their opening to retreat. They fled into Coruscant's depths, leaving behind only echoes and questions. "We need to move," Obi-Wan urged, "before reinforcements arrive." Back aboard the shuttle, racing away from Coruscant, as Republic vessels scrambled to pursue, Ahsoka listened to their explanation with growing disbelief. When they finished, she sat in stunned silence. "Palpatine is Sidious. The whole war is fake. The clones have control chips, and you're starting a resistance with this dimensional stranger who can clone himself?" She looked at each of them. "Am I having a stroke? Is this a stroke?" "Unfortunately, it's all real," Obi-Wan confirmed. "Prove it," Ahsoka demanded. "Show me the evidence." They showed her the data crystal's contents, watched her face shift from skepticism to horror to cold fury as she absorbed the truth. "That bastard," she whispered. "He used the Jedi, used the clones, used everyone as pieces in his sick game." "So you're with us?" Anakin asked. "Master, I left the Order because they betrayed my trust, but you never did. If you're fighting to save the galaxy from this monster, then yes, I'm with you." Naruto extended his hand. "Welcome to the Resistance. Fair warning, we're making this up as we go. We're outnumbered about 1,000,000,000 to 1, and our chances of survival are pretty terrible." Ahsoka shook his hand, grinning fiercely. "Sounds like my kind of odds." Their victory was short-lived. As they jumped to hyperspace, every communication channel lit up with the same emergency broadcast. Palpatine's image, his expression grave with manufactured sorrow. "It is with a heavy heart that I must report a treasonous conspiracy within the Jedi Order itself. Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and foreign operative Naruto Uzumaki have betrayed the Republic. They have murdered Jedi Council member Mace Windu and attempted to assassinate your Supreme Chancellor." The shuttle's occupants stared in horror at the screen. "That's a lie!" Anakin shouted. "Mace is alive!"
But Palpatine continued, his voice resonating with false pain. "In this dark hour, I am forced to take extreme measures to ensure your safety. Effective immediately, I am declaring martial law across the Republic. All Jedi are ordered to report to their local military command for processing. And to the traitorous fugitives who would destroy our democracy, you will be found. You will be brought to justice. The Republic will not fall because of your selfish ambitions." The broadcast cut out. The implications settled over them like a shroud. "He's making his move," Obi-Wan breathed. "We exposed ourselves, so he's accelerating his timeline." "The Jedi," Anakin said urgently, "if they report to military command with their clone battalions—" "Order 66, Ahsoka finished. "He's going to execute it. Kill the Jedi while they're vulnerable." "How long do we have?" Naruto demanded. Obi-Wan closed his eyes, reaching out through the Force. What he sensed made his blood run cold. "Hours, maybe less. He's already given the order. I can feel Jedi dying across the galaxy, executed by their own troops." The weight of it crushed them down. Thousands of Jedi, peacekeepers, teachers, warriors, murdered by the clones they'd fought beside, trusted, considered brothers, all because of one man's ambition. "No," Naruto said, his voice hard as steel. "No, this doesn't happen. We stop it." "Naruto, we're 4 people against the entire Republic military," Obi-Wan said gently. "We can't save them all." "Watch me," Naruto replied. "Multi-shadow clone jutsu." The shuttle filled with smoke. When it cleared, 2,000 Narutos stood packed into every available space, hanging from ceilings, standing on walls, crammed together with impossible density. "Each of you spread across the galaxy," Naruto Prime commanded. "Find Jedi, warn them, get them somewhere safe before the clones execute them. Move like ninja, fast, silent, deadly if you have to be. And remember, the clones aren't evil, they're being controlled. Save the Jedi without killing the clones if possible." "Naruto, that's insane," Ahsoka protested. "You can't be everywhere at once." "That's exactly what I can do," Naruto countered. "It's my entire fighting style, and right now it's the only chance those Jedi have." Anakin stared at the army of Narutos with something like awe. Could this actually work? "Probably not," Obi-Wan admitted, "but it's the best chance we have." "Naruto, you'll exhaust yourself. Maintaining that many clones across the galaxy is worth it if we save lives. Kurama, you with me?" "Always, Kit. Let's show this galaxy what the Nine-Tails and his Jinchuriki can really do." As the shuttle approached Naboo again, portals began opening. Tears in space created by Naruto channeling Kurama's power in ways he'd never attempted before. Each portal led to a different world where Jedi were in danger, and through each portal dozens of Narutos poured out, racing against time itself. On Felucia, Naruto's appeared just as Commander Bly raised his blaster toward Jedi Master Aayla Secura. The clones found themselves suddenly surrounded, disarmed, and their chips extracted with chakra-enhanced surgical precision before they understood what happened. On Maijito, Naruto's grabbed Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi and his troops, forming a protective wall of bodies that absorbed blaster fire, while the real Naruto used smoke bombs and transformation jutsu to fake the Master's death.
On Kashyyyk, Yoda sensed the betrayal moments before it happened, his ancient wisdom recognizing the disturbance. When the clones turned on him, he found Narutotos already there, helping him escape into the forests where Wookiees provided sanctuary. On Cato Nymodia, clones scattered as hundreds of Narutotos descended like a blonde avalanche, their battle cries in Japanese confusing clone targeting computers programmed for conventional threats. But Narutotos couldn't be everywhere. On Utapau, Obi-Wan's close friend Commander Cody shot his general in the back, and Narutoto's clone arrived 3 seconds too late. On Saleukami, Stas Ali died before rescue could reach her. On Mijito, despite Narutoto's efforts, Ki-Adi-Mundi fell to overwhelming fire. Each clone that witnessed the Jedi's death brought that trauma back to Narutoto's prime when it dispelled. The accumulated grief and rage of watching good people murdered by their own troops threatened to overwhelm him. But he pushed through, channeling that pain into determination. Every Jedi he saved was a life stolen from Sidious's plan. Every clone freed from their programming was a soldier who wouldn't have to live with having murdered their general. In the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, Darth Sidious, no longer bothering with his Palpatine disguise, stood before his new apprentice. Anakin Skywalker had been meant for this role, carefully groomed over years, but that plan had shattered when the real Anakin fled with the traitors.
Instead, the title of Darth Vader went to a broken, twisted thing, a Jedi who'd been captured during Order 66's execution, tortured and corrupted through pain and promises of power. Not the chosen one, but a pale substitute. "My lord," the new Vader knelt, his voice mechanically distorted through a breath mask. "The fugitives continue to interfere with Order 66's execution. They've saved dozens of Jedi." "Dozens," Sidious repeated, his yellow eyes glowing with malice. "Out of 10,000. A tiny fraction, but still annoying." He gestured, and holographic images appeared, surveillance footage of Naruto appearing across the galaxy. "This boy, this dimensional anomaly, he's more troublesome than anticipated. Give me a battalion, I'll hunt them down." "No," Sidious said thoughtfully. "They're moving too fast, too unpredictably. We need to draw them out, force them to come to us." A terrible smile crossed his withered features. "And I know exactly how to do it." On Naboo, Naruto collapsed as the last of his clones dispelled. The accumulated experiences of 2,000 separate lives hit him simultaneously. Every battle, every rescue, every failure, every death witnessed. He would have screamed if he had the energy. Anakin caught him before he hit the ground. "Naruto, are you all right?" "Fine," Naruto gasped, though tears streaked his face. "Just lot of memories, lot of pain. But we saved some of them. Not all, but some."
"You saved 247 Jedi," Ahsoka said, looking at the data they'd compiled, "and freed over 3,000 clone troopers from their programming. Naruto, that's incredible." "Wasn't enough," Naruto said bitterly. "Thousands still died. Good people, because I wasn't fast enough, wasn't strong enough." "You did the impossible," Obi-Wan interrupted gently but firmly. "You saved lives that would have been lost. You gave those Jedi a chance they wouldn't have had. That matters. That will always matter." A priority communication interrupted them, encrypted using codes that Obi-Wan recognized as Jedi emergency protocols. The hologram that appeared was Master Yoda, his expression grave but alive. "Survivors, I have gathered. To Dagobah we flee. A safe place it is, hidden from Sidious's sight. But troubling news I bring. The Jedi Temple Sidious has claimed. Younglings he holds hostage, demands the traitors surrender, or they die." The room went silent. Then Naruto stood, his exhaustion forgotten. "He's bluffing," Anakin said, though his voice carried no conviction. "He wouldn't murder children just to—" "He would," Ahsoka said flatly. "He's a Sith Lord. Children mean nothing to him except leverage." "Then we go get them," Naruto stated. "Right now. We break into the temple, rescue the younglings, and get out before Sidious can stop us." "It's a trap," Obi-Wan said. "He's using children as bait because he knows we can't ignore it." "Then it's a trap we spring, because I'm not letting kids die because some evil old man wants to play games." He looked at each of them in turn. "In my world, I was a kid nobody believed in, a kid everyone hated. But people saved me anyway, gave me chances I didn't deserve. Now I'm going to do the same for those younglings. You're coming, or do I do this alone?" Anakin stood immediately. "I'm with you. Those kids deserve a chance." "I'm in," Ahsoka agreed. "Besides, someone needs to keep you two from getting killed." Obi-Wan sighed, but he was smiling. "I suppose I can't let my former Padawan and our dimensional friend attempt a suicide mission without proper supervision. Very well. We storm the Jedi Temple and rescue hostages from a Sith Lord. This will definitely end well." "That's the spirit," Naruto grinned, despite the situation. As they prepared for what could be their final mission, Padme pulled Anakin aside. "Come back to me," she whispered. "Please." "Always," he promised, kissing her. "We're going to win this, build a better galaxy for our—" He stopped, eyes widening. "Padme, are you—" She smiled through tears. "I was going to tell you after the war ended, but yes, 3 months." Anakin's expressions cycled through shock, joy, terror, and determination. "Then I'm definitely coming back. Our child is going to grow up in a free galaxy. I promise you that." On Coruscant, Darth Sidious felt the disturbance in the Force. Determination, hope, and that strange non-Force energy signature that was Naruto Uzumaki. They were coming. Perfect. He'd arranged everything precisely. The younglings were indeed hostages, held in the temple's meditation chamber. His new Vader waited in the shadows with a battalion of the most loyal clone troopers, those whose chips had been enhanced, making them fanatically devoted beyond any possibility of deprogramming. And he himself would be there, watching, ready to eliminate these troublesome variables once and for all. Let them come. Let them believe they could win, and then crush that belief so thoroughly that the survivors would never dare oppose him again.
The final confrontation was approaching. The Jedi Temple, once a beacon of light, would become the grave of hope itself. Or so Darth Sidious believed. He had not accounted for the stubbornness of a boy who never gave up. He had not accounted for the determination of a chosen one who chose his own path. He had not accounted for the wisdom of a negotiator who'd learned when negotiation failed. And he had not accounted for the fierce loyalty of a former Padawan who'd been betrayed once and refused to let it happen to others. The Clone Wars were ending, but something new was beginning. A resistance built not on armies or governments, but on the simple principle that every life mattered, that children deserved protection, that evil would not win simply because it was powerful. The galaxy was about to discover that sometimes the most dangerous warriors weren't the ones with the biggest armies or the most elaborate plans. Sometimes the most dangerous warriors were the ones who fought for something bigger than themselves and absolutely refused to lose. The battle for the Jedi Temple would be remembered as the moment the galaxy's fate balanced on a knife's edge. But this isn't that story. Not yet. This is the story of how a shinobi from another world refused to let darkness win simply because it was inevitable. In the aftermath of Order 66's partial failure, the galaxy fractured into new configurations. Darth Sidious still declared himself emperor, still transformed the Republic into the Empire. But he did so with 247 Jedi survivors scattered across the galaxy, freed clone troopers spreading whispers of truth, and a resistance movement that operated by rules he couldn't predict. The younglings were saved that night in the temple, though the cost was terrible. Naruto fought Sidious directly, learning that some enemies couldn't be defeated, only survived. Kurama's full power manifested for the first time in this galaxy, and even the Dark Lord of the Sith retreated from the nine-tailed fox's fury. The temple burned, but its children lived. Anakin Skywalker never became Darth Vader. Instead, he became something the Sith hadn't anticipated, a father fighting for his child's future, a master who protected his Padawan, and a chosen one who chose balance over destiny. His twins, born in the shadows of Naboo, would grow up knowing their father. That alone changed everything. Obi-Wan Kenobi learned that sometimes the greatest wisdom was knowing when to abandon wisdom for action. His negotiations continued, but now they carried the weight of someone who'd seen corruption at the highest levels and refused to be complicit through inaction.
Ahsoka Tano found her place not as a Jedi, but as a leader of those who'd been abandoned by every institution. The clones, freed from their programming, followed her, as did rescued younglings who grew up learning that the Force wasn't about light or dark, but about protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. And Naruto Uzumaki? He never found his way home, not in the months and years that followed, but he found something else, a new family forged in fire, a new purpose in a galaxy that desperately needed someone who refused to compromise on hope, and a new understanding that sometimes you're exactly where you need to be, even if it's not where you wanted. The Empire rose, but so did the rebellion, earlier, stronger, led by Jedi who'd learned to fight smart rather than honorably. Sidious's carefully laid plans unraveled as variables he couldn't account for created cascading changes. His 1,000-year Sith revenge became a decades-long struggle against opponents who'd learned from his tactics and refused to play by traditional rules. In hidden bases across the Outer Rim, freed clone troopers trained rescued Jedi younglings in unconventional warfare. On Naboo, Padme Amidala coordinated a political resistance that chipped away at the Empire's legitimacy. On Dagobah, Master Yoda taught a new generation that the Jedi Code was a guide, not chains, that attachment wasn't inherently dark, that emotion wasn't weakness, that sometimes the greatest wisdom was learning from a stubborn kid who made friendship into a superpower. And on battlefields across the stars, a legend grew. The clone shinobi, they called him, the warrior who could be everywhere at once, who fought with light that wasn't the Force, but burned just as bright, who'd looked at a galaxy being strangled by evil and simply said, no. Naruto stood on a Star Destroyer's observation deck years later, watching a liberation fleet assemble. Beside him, Anakin reviewed tactical displays, while Ahsoka coordinated with ground forces. Obi-Wan meditated nearby, maintaining the mental discipline that kept their resistance network hidden from Sidious's searching. "You ever regret it, staying here instead of going home?" Anakin asked quietly. Naruto thought about Konoha, about Sakura and Kakashi, and all his friends who probably thought him dead. The ache of missing them never fully disappeared. But he thought also about the lives saved, the children who grew up free, the clone troopers who'd become brothers, the galaxy that was slowly learning to hope again. "Sometimes," he admitted honestly, "but then I remember what you told me once, that we're exactly where we need to be. I didn't choose to come here, but I choose to stay, to fight, to protect the people I've come to love. That's my ninja way. That's who I am no matter what world I'm in." "Good answer," Anakin grinned. "Because we still need you. Sidious is rallying forces for a major offensive. This war's far from over." "Good," Naruto replied, his fox-like grin blazing with determination. "I work better when the odds are impossible anyway. So let's go save the galaxy, again." As the fleet launched toward destiny, a signal reached across dimensions. Faint, barely perceptible, but real. Somewhere in a laboratory on a forgotten world, scientists had detected the echo of Naruto's arrival. They were building a device, unraveling the secrets of interdimensional travel. A way home. But that bridge between worlds wouldn't be complete for years yet.
And Naruto Uzumaki had promises to keep in this galaxy before he could return to his own. The message came through encrypted channels, decoded by one of Naruto's shadow clones working in the Resistance Intelligence Division. It took 3 days of continuous analysis before the full implications became clear. Scientists on the remote world of Kamino, the same cloners who'd created the Republic's army, had been studying the dimensional rift signatures from Naruto's arrival. They'd made a breakthrough. "They can replicate the conditions," the clone reported, dispelling to transfer the knowledge to Naruto Prime. "With enough power and the right equipment, they could open a stable portal back to your universe. But there's a problem." "There's always a problem," Naruto sighed, looking up from the tactical maps spread across the war room table. Around him, his found family had gathered, Anakin and Padme with their twin toddlers Luke and Leia playing at their feet, Obi-Wan reviewing intelligence reports, Ahsoka coordinating with clone commanders Rex and Cody, and Master Yoda observing with ancient, knowing eyes. "The facility is on Kamino, deep in Imperial territory. Sidious has reinforced it with a full battle group and stationed his new Inquisitorius there. He knows about the research. He's using it as bait, hoping you'll try to reach it." "Of course he is," Anakin muttered. "The bastard never misses an opportunity." "But if the research is real," Padme said thoughtfully, bouncing young Leia on her knee, "then it's worth the risk. Naruto has sacrificed years helping us fight. He deserves the chance to go home." "The question is whether it's a trap we can afford to spring," Obi-Wan mused. "Kamino is heavily defended. Ocean world, limited approach vectors, clone facilities that Sidious has undoubtedly repurposed. The casualties would be significant." Naruto had been quiet through the discussion, his expression distant. Now he spoke, his voice carrying a weight that hadn't been there when he'd first arrived in this galaxy years ago. "I'm not going." Everyone turned to stare at him. Luke looked up from his toys, sensing the shift in the room's emotional energy with Force-sensitive awareness. "Naruto," Anakin began, "this is your chance to get home, to see your friends again, your village, everything you've been fighting for." "No," Naruto shook his head. "What I've been fighting for is right here. You guys, the freed clones, the Jedi younglings growing up learning that the Force is about protecting people, not rigid codes. The resistance that's actually making a difference." He looked around at the faces he'd come to love. "Kamino is a trap, and Sidious wants me to walk into it because he knows I'm one of the few pieces on this board he can't predict or control. If I go, people die. Maybe we succeed. Maybe I get home. But how many of you would I be leaving behind in body bags?" "But your world," Padme protested gently. "Your family there." "We'll understand," Naruto said with certainty that came from knowing his friends. "Kakashi-sensei always said a ninja who abandons their mission is trash, but a ninja who abandons their comrades is worse than trash. You're my comrades now. This resistance, these people we're protecting, that's my mission. I don't abandon either."
Yoda's ears perked up, and something like profound approval shone in his ancient eyes. "Grown much you have. When arrived here you did. A warrior you were. Now a leader you have become. Proud of you your village would be. Besides," Naruto added with a familiar grin, "we're winning. Slowly, but we're winning. Sidious's empire is cracking. Every system we liberate, every clone trooper we free, every Jedi we save, it's all damage he can't undo. His perfect plan is falling apart because he never accounted for people choosing hope over fear. I'm not leaving until we finish this." "Then we finish it together," Anakin declared, standing. "But we do it smart. We know about Kamino now, know what Sidious expects, so we don't give him what he expects. We hit him somewhere else. Somewhere he's left vulnerable while concentrating forces at his trap." "Like where?" Rex asked, his military mind already working through possibilities. "The Imperial Palace on Coruscant," Naruto said suddenly, pieces clicking together. "Sidious is paranoid about Kamino because of me. He's pulled resources there, reinforced it heavily, which means other places are weaker. And if we could strike at the heart of his power, we'd send a message that nowhere is safe, that the Emperor himself is vulnerable." "It's suicidal," Obi-Wan observed. But he was smiling. "Completely reckless, tactically questionable, and likely to get us all killed, which means Sidious will never see it coming because no rational military commander would approve such a plan." "Good thing we're not rational," Naruto laughed. "We're insurgents. We make our own rules." The planning took weeks. They gathered every ally, called in every favor, coordinated with resistance cells across the galaxy. The attack would be multi-pronged, a feint toward Kamino, to make Sidious think his trap was working, while the real strike force infiltrated Coruscant through old smuggling routes that Padme's underworld contacts had maintained. The night before the operation, Naruto stood alone in the training room, practicing kata that blended Jedi lightsaber forms with his shinobi taijutsu. He'd come so far from the kid who'd fallen through dimensions years ago. His basic was flawless now, his understanding of galactic politics sophisticated, his combat skills honed by fighting inquisitors, bounty hunters, and imperial forces across 100 worlds. But at his core, he was still the same person, someone who refused to give up, who valued friends above all else, who believed everyone deserved a chance at redemption. "Can't sleep either?" Anakin's voice came from the doorway. He entered, Luke toddling beside him, the boy's tiny hand gripping his father's finger. "Too much thinking," Naruto admitted, deactivating his practice saber. "Tomorrow, we either change everything or die trying. Hard to sleep with that hanging over you." "I wanted to thank you," Anakin said quietly, picking up Luke as the boy reached for him, "for everything. If you hadn't arrived when you did, if you hadn't questioned everything, I would have fallen. Palpatine had me right where he wanted me, afraid of losing Padme, desperate for power to protect her, isolated from the Jedi Council. Without your perspective, your stubborn refusal to accept that darkness was inevitable, I'd be Vader now. My children would have grown up without a father. The galaxy would be so much worse."
"You would have found your way," Naruto said, though he knew it might not be true. "You're stronger than you think." "Maybe, but I'm glad I didn't have to find out." Anakin shifted Luke to his other arm. "If tomorrow goes badly, if something happens to me—" "Nothing's gonna happen," Naruto interrupted firmly. "That's not how this story ends. We win, we save the galaxy, your kids grow up with both parents in a free galaxy where they can be whatever they want. That's the future I'm fighting for. That's the promise I made when I decided to stay." "You can't promise something like that," Anakin said, but he was smiling. "Watch me," Naruto replied, his fox grin blazing, "because I never break my promises. That's my ninja way." Luke giggled and reached out toward Naruto, his tiny fist closing around Naruto's finger with surprising strength for such a small child. Through the Force connection that everyone in this galaxy seemed to share, Naruto felt the boy's simple, pure emotion, trust, affection, safety. "See?" Naruto said softly. "Even he believes in me. Can't let him down." The attack began at dawn, while a full battle fleet engaged Imperial forces at Kamino, keeping Sidious's attention fixed on his carefully prepared trap. A single stealth ship descended through Coruscant's atmosphere. Aboard was the core team: Naruto, Anakin,
Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Rex, and a squad of elite clone commandos who'd volunteered for what everyone knew was a suicide mission. The Imperial Palace was a fortress built from the bones of the old Senate building, its security systems designed by Sidious himself, but the Sith Lord had a weakness: his arrogance. He'd never considered that enemies might be insane enough to attack him directly while his forces were concentrated elsewhere. They infiltrated through maintenance tunnels that Padme's intelligence network had identified, moving like ghosts through corridors where Imperial guards stood watch. Naruto's shadow clones created diversions while the real team advanced, each step bringing them closer to the throne room where Darth Sidious held court. Alarms finally blared when they was 3 levels from their target. The element of surprise was gone, replaced by a fighting retreat as Imperial forces converged from all directions. "Go!" Rex shouted, his DC-17 blasters cutting down stormtroopers. "We'll hold them here. Complete the mission." "Rex," Naruto began to protest. "That's an order, sir." Rex grinned fiercely. "We didn't come this far to fail now. Besides, we're clones. We're bred for last stands. Now go save the galaxy." They ran, leaving behind the sounds of battle. Behind them, Rex and his commandos fought with the skill and valor that had always defined the best of the clone army. They'd hold that position until their last breath, buying time for their friends to reach the Emperor. The throne room doors were massive, ornate, and utterly unguarded. That alone should have been warning enough. "It's a trap," Obi-Wan stated the obvious. "Obviously. But what choice do we have? We spring it, but on our terms. Everyone ready?" They nodded. No more words needed. They'd trained for this, planned for this, accepted the possibility that this was where their story ended. But if it did end here, they'd go down fighting. The doors opened. Darth Sidious sat on his throne, yellow eyes glimmering with malevolent anticipation. Around him stood his inquisitors, his royal guards, and in the shadows, something worse. A twisted figure in black armor, his breathing mechanical. His presence in the Force was a wound that made even Naruto's chakra recoil. "Ah," Sidious's voice dripped with poisonous satisfaction. "The traitors arrive. How predictable. How disappointing." "Sorry we didn't RSVP," Naruto shot back, his bravado masking the cold certainty that this was the most dangerous opponent he'd ever faced. "We're here to make you an offer. Step down, disband the Empire, let the galaxy heal, or we end you."
Sidious laughed, a sound like breaking glass and dying stars. "End me? Child, I am the galaxy now. Every system, every world, every life belongs to me. Your little resistance, meaningless. Those Jedi you saved, I'll find them eventually. Those clones you freed, their brothers will hunt them down. You've only delayed the inevitable." "That's where you're wrong," Anakin stepped forward, his lightsaber igniting. "Because you made one critical mistake. You forgot that the galaxy isn't about power or control. It's about people. And people, when united, are stronger than any empire." "Inspiring speech," Sidious mocked, "but ultimately pointless. Darth Vader, kill them." The figure in black armor stepped forward, and Naruto's breath caught. Through the twisted mask, he could feel it. The anguish, the pain, the prison of flesh and technology. This was a Jedi, someone who'd been broken and remade into a weapon. "Who is that?" Ahsoka whispered in horror. "Someone who didn't have friends to save him," Obi-Wan replied grimly. "Someone who fell because he was alone. Then we save him too, because that's what we do." The battle that erupted in the throne room would be spoken of in whispers for generations. Lightsabers clashed against Force lightning. Naruto's Rasen Shuriken tore through royal guards, while his shadow clones engaged inquisitors. Anakin and Vader dueled in a contest that was partly blade work and partly a battle of possible futures, what Anakin could have become versus what he chose to be. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka fought back-to-back, their complementary styles creating a defense that even multiple Inquisitors couldn't penetrate. And through it all, Naruto pushed forward, step by step, toward the throne where Sidious watched with malevolent glee.
"Come then, dimensional anomaly," Sidious beckoned, lightning crackling between his fingers. "Show me the power that has disrupted my carefully laid plans. Show me what made you so dangerous that I had to lure you into my domain." Naruto didn't use words. He formed the hand seal, and suddenly the throne room was filled with orange. 1,000 Narutos, each one channeling Kuroma's chakra until the very air glowed gold with power.
"You want to see what I can do?" Naruto Prime said, his voice layered with Kurama's deeper rumble. "I'll show you what happens when someone refuses to give up, when they fight not for power or control, but for the people they love." The Narutos moved as one, a coordinated assault that no single opponent could defend against. But Sidious was no ordinary opponent. His force powers lashed out, turning clones to ash, redirecting attacks, transforming the throne room into a storm of dark side energy. But for every clone that fell, another appeared. For every attack Sidious deflected, 2 more came from different angles. Because this was what Naruto did. He overwhelmed through sheer determination, through refusing to accept defeat, through believing that eventually persistence would triumph over power. And slowly, impossibly, Sidious began to falter. "Impossible," the Emperor hissed, his lightning growing wilder, less controlled. "You're just one person, one insignificant variable in an equation I've spent decades perfecting." "That's the thing about variables," Naruto replied, forming a Rasen Shuriken larger than any he had created before. "They mess up even perfect equations, and you forgot the most important variable of all, hope. You can't kill hope. You can't control it, and you definitely can't defeat it." He hurled the massive technique. Sidious raised his hands, unleashing force lightning powerful enough to atomize a building. The 2 attacks collided in the center of the throne room, creating a maelstrom of impossible energies. Chakra and the dark side, will and malice, hope and hatred. The explosion was cataclysmic. It shattered the throne, cracked the walls, sent everyone not immediately involved staggering backward. When the light faded, Naruto stood alone before Sidious, his chakra cloak burning but holding. The Emperor was wounded, actually wounded, for perhaps the first time in decades. You dare?" Sidious snarled, his composure shattered. "I dare," Naruto replied simply, "because someone has to. Because those kids in the temple deserved better. Because the clones deserved to be people, not weapons. Because Anakin deserved to be a father. Because this galaxy deserved a chance to be free. So yeah, I dare." In that moment, the armored figure, Vader, made a choice. Perhaps it was seeing Naruto's determination. Perhaps it was hearing Anakin fight beside friends rather than alone. Perhaps it was simply the Force itself crying out for balance. Whatever the reason, Darth Vader turned his lightsaber on his master. The blade pierced Sidious's chest. The Emperor's yellow eyes widened in shock and fury. "Treachery from my own—" "Not treachery," the distorted voice said, and for just a moment it sounded almost human. "Freedom. Thank you. for showing me it was possible." Sidious collapsed, his body already disintegrating into ash and dark side energy. His death scream echoed through the Force, a cry of rage and disbelief that shook the galaxy itself. Then, silence. The battle ended. Inquisitors fled, their master's death breaking whatever hold he'd had on them. Royal guards stood down, their programming uncertain without the Emperor to command them. And in the center of the ruined throne room, Naruto dropped to his knees, exhausted beyond anything he had ever experienced. Kurama's chakra receded, leaving him just a tired 19-year-old genin who'd been fighting for years in a war that wasn't even his own.
Anakin caught him before he fell completely. Hey, stay with us. It's over. We won. We won? Naruto asked groggily. You won, Obi-Wan corrected, approaching with Ahsoka. You did what none of us could. You killed a Sith Lord who'd survived for decades through cunning and power. Naruto Uzumaki, you just saved the galaxy. Cool. Can I sleep now? Soon, Padme's voice came from the doorway. She'd arrived with reinforcements, and behind her streamed resistance fighters, freed clones, and even some Imperial officers who'd only served out of fear and were now ready to rebuild. But first, the galaxy needs to see you, needs to know that hope won, that tyranny fell, that freedom is possible. Naruto let them pull him to his feet. Together, they walked to the palace's main balcony, where thousands were already gathering, beings of every species, from every world, all drawn by news spreading faster than light that the Emperor had fallen. What do I say? Naruto asked quietly. The truth, Anakin suggested. So Naruto stepped forward, amplifying his voice with chakra so it carried across the plaza. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm not from this galaxy. I'm a shinobi from a world called the Elemental Nations, and I fell here by accident years ago. I didn't understand your war, your politics, your force. But I understood one thing: people suffering, people being used, people who'd given up hope. So I fought, not because it was my war, but because it was right. And today, we proved that no matter how powerful evil becomes, it can never defeat people who refuse to give up, who fight for each other, who believe in something bigger than themselves. The Empire is finished, but that's just the beginning. Now comes the hard part, building something better, building a galaxy where every life matters, where children grow up free, where we choose hope over fear. I'm just one person, but if one person can make a difference, imagine what all of us together can do. The roar that went up shook the very foundations of the palace. And in that moment, the new republic was born. Not from governments or militaries, but from the simple belief that the galaxy could be better. Weeks later, after the chaos had settled and new governments were being formed, Naruto received a message. The scientists on Kamino, now freed from Imperial control, had completed their research. The portal was ready. He could go home. He stood in the makeshift laboratory, staring at the swirling dimensional rift they'd created. It was beautiful, terrible, and impossible. A doorway back to everything he'd lost. You don't have to go, Anakin said beside him. Luke and Leia clung to their father's legs, staring at the strange portal with Force-sensitive curiosity. Actually, I do, Naruto replied. My friends back home, they need to know I'm okay. My village needs me. I've been gone for years. I can't just abandon them, not after everything. But you'll come back? Ahsoka asked hopefully. Are you kidding? This galaxy's got the best friends I've ever had. Besides, someone's got to make sure you guys don't screw up the peace we just won. So yeah, I'll come back. Might take some time to handle things at home, but I'll be back.